12-yard gain by Tony Cherry.
Well, the Calgary defense gives up more rushing yards than any other defense in the league, so not surprising that Ottawa would like to try and establish their running game early.
Mitchell Price stepped up to make the stop. And Cherry was stopped dead in his tracks. Gain of 1.
Mitchell Price reaching kind of a milestone in his career tonight, playing in his 100th game, and he gets off to a good start, shedding the block of Gerald Roper, who's been an All-Canadian, and makes a nice stop on Tony Cherry. Mitchell Price spent so many years with the Hamilton Ticats, played out his option, went to Philadelphia, could not make that, and then signed on as a free agent with the Stampeders.
Second inside the Calgary 30. Hobart with time. Look for David Williams, and Williams came back, but a flag goes down. Coverage on Williams might have been a little too close.
Well, there's no doubt that's interference. That's really a tough play for Junior Thurman, because normally as a corner, when the receiver makes his break on that hook pattern, you expect that ball to be in the air. Hobart was really late throwing it. Consequently, Junior Thurman kind of overran and ran into Williams, but it was really because Hobart was late with the throw.
Referee tonight is Ken Lazarick from Winnipeg. Here's his first call.
Well, they said the ball could not be caught, so they wave off the interference. Nevertheless, it was interference.
Hey, what's the call?
Yeah, I like Steve Goldman. You get out there and argue that one. Here you come back. Great look at it. I mean, that ball,
catchable.
Well, that ball's close enough that you can't rule that it wasn't catchable. I don't know about that one.
All right, okay.
Goldman will settle for 3. Dean Dorsey good on 13 of 16, his longest from 46 away. From the 30. Dorsey is on the money. The Ottawa Rough Riders out in front, scoring on a turnover. Mix up in the Calgary backfield, gave the Rough Riders good field position. Dorsey capitalizes on that, and Ottawa leads Calgary 3-0 early in the first.
Van throughout his career, 1987, the MVP. We talked to him tonight about what we thought was a great matchup. Himself against the 16-year veteran Lloyd Fairbanks. We said, Greg, how about Fairbanks? What can you do against him?
Well, you know, Lloyd Fairbanks, he's a guy that's been in the league for quite a number of years, and he's a smart veteran-type player. I think, you know, my biggest asset against Lloyd would be a head and shoulder fake one way real hard and try to beat him the opposite way. And, you know, the main thing I want to do to him is get him to move his feet and make him move lateral.
Well, that's the thing that Greg Stuman does to so many tackles throughout the league. You know, he gives them that quick move one way and hopes to get all that inertia and body movement going and then slip back underneath. But that's an exciting matchup that we're going to follow for you tonight. Fairbanks, of course, 16 years in the league, and, you know, he's got a few tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, he won't be easily fooled. Like a young whippersnapper Stuman coming along is not going to fool a cagey veteran like Fairbanks every play.
Hey, listen, only one lineman in the history of the game has played more games than Lloyd Fairbanks. Little quiz for you. Do you know who that is?
I looked that one up. As a matter of fact, Al Wilson, BC Lions.
Yeah, so you know Lloyd didn't fall off the turnip. He's going to be ready tonight.
Ottawa kickoff out of bounds near the 37. Ottawa leading 3-0 in the Calgary Stampeders at McMahon Stadium with 8:56 to go in the opening quarter.
What's funny about Lloyd Fairbanks, he's been with so many teams, of course. Last one, Hamilton, before coming back to Calgary, started his career here, and he said this is the most fun he's ever had playing football. The team has just got a great group of guys. The coach, Wally Buono, treats them very fairly, and it's the most fun he's had. And, I mean, that's a lot for a guy who's played 16 years.
Wally has made quite a difference in Calgary. He's put together a pretty good football team. When you look at some of the newcomers that he's getting production out of, guys like Derek Crawford and Eddie Brown, Alan Pitts, and these guys are brand new to Canadian football. A couple of them raw rookies to professional football.
Well, Wally's a good assessor of talent, and they're on the bandwagon here in Calgary with Wally Ball.
8 rookies on this Calgary Stampeder team this season, and they have the best record in Canadian football. It doesn't get by Hopkins very often like that, but it chases Ron Hopkins right back to the 5. And the return is about 5 yards. He's at the 10-yard line. Pat Miller leading the Ottawa tacklers that time. Here comes Fairbanks and the Calgary Stampeder offense. Calgary has not had good field position so far tonight.
Well, we talked to Lloyd Fairbanks. We said, you're up against one of the great ones in Greg Stuman. He's the co-leader in sacks in the league. Tell us a little bit about Greg Stuman, what you'll have to do against him.
Stuman is a quick individual. He comes upfield really hard and never stops coming until the play's over. And you know, a guy like that, you have to make sure you get your proper depths on your pass blocking, and when you run blocking against him, you always have to keep in contact with him, because he's the kind of guy that can come off the block late and make a play, or run around you and make a play. His athletic ability is just tremendous, and you know, I have to be on top of him.
Well, they weren't quite on top of it there, but it wasn't Greg Stuman that made the tackle.
That's true. It was Andy McVeigh who carried the football, and John Kropke who made the stop. That time, gain of 2, 2nd and 8, Calgary. Barrett behind the intended receiver, Derek Crawford. And Calgary will kick it away.
Sorry, John. Let's look at that matchup. Fairbanks against Stuman, the top of your screen. And that's what Lloyd Fairbanks was saying. Get good depth and keep them in front of you. Keep those feet moving. And, boy, you can't do any better than that.
Fairbanks won that one.
The wily old veteran 1. The young upstart 0. But that's a great matchup. We're going to do that for you week after week and have players talk about the players they're playing against. And I think you folks at home will really enjoy that.
Maddich's kick partially blocks. Ottawa, good field position once more at the 30. A flag goes down as Troy Wilson falls on the ball.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they sort this out. A flag at the line of scrimmage, of course, usually indicates offside, but against whom?
Looked like Scott Flagel got through to partially block the kick.
Well, they will do this one over again.
Penalties going each way.
Well, no yards, obviously, against Calgary at the end of that play after the block. Flagel, indeed, did get in to block that punt, so he's done so many times throughout his career. Oh, they'll redo it. Big break for the Stampeders.
We're waiting for the official word from Ken Lazarick. Now he has another conference down there.
A little slow on the trigger tonight.
Offside, middle of the line, Ottawa. No yards, Calgary. The third down, repeat it.
You had it called. We didn't really need Mr. Lazarick there. That's great. He's got the specs on tonight.
Go call McCarthy so you ain't gonna block him.
Maddich gets a great kick away. Down to the 50. This is Stacey Dossie on the return for Ottawa. He had a good one earlier. This one isn't bad either. As Dossie gets to the Calgary Stampeder 45-yard line. Stopped there by Dan Wicklum, number 35. The Ottawa Rough Riders out in front of the Calgary Stampeders, but it's early at McMahon Stadium. Ottawa leads by 3.
Opportunity for Ken Hobart tonight, getting his first start in 1990, and you know, he's had an unbelievable career. Grey Cup in '86, but now in 1990, it's almost like he's starting over again. We talked to him about that.
Leaf, that's just the nature of the business. You know, there's young guys coming in every year, every week, and you have to go out there week in and week out and prove yourself. And 1990 was definitely a challenge for Ken Hobart, and here I am starting my first game and looking forward to it.
He's had his moments in Canadian football, no doubt about that.
Well, in 1985, he set a rushing record for quarterbacks, 928 yards, since broken, of course, by Tracy Ham. But, you know, he's had some fabulous moments in the CFL. Now he's got to rekindle those and start over again.
First down for Hobart and the Ottawa Rough Riders. Hobart looks long for Williams. He can't catch up with the ball. A flag goes down on Junior Thurman. And that didn't look to be a catchable ball. You're shaking your head, partner.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's overthrown, and no question he's over on the back, but what's catchable? The other one was more catchable, wasn't it? Anyway, big break for Ottawa. They need it.
Calgary number 2. First down, Ottawa.
Boy, a big break for the Ottawa Roughriders. It's a 44-yard penalty.
They're picking on Junior Thurman tonight so far. That's 2 on him.
First down. Goal to go. Ottawa. And Hobart carries himself for the first touchdown of the game. 7:03 to go in the opening quarter, and Ottawa out to a quick and early lead from the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, so far the Ottawa Roughriders in the first quarter taking advantage of their opportunities. A fumble by Anthony Parker recovered. That led to a field goal by Dean Dorsey, and now the interference call on Junior Thurman sets things up on the 1-yard line for Ken Hobart to sneak through into the end zone, pick up his first touchdown of the year, of course his first start, and the Ottawa Roughriders have been able to get themselves off to a great start.
Dean Dorsey adds the extra points, and Ottawa out in front of Calgary 10-0. An early surprise here. A turnover and a big penalty leading to Ottawa's points so far. Interference call against Junior Thurman set Ottawa up at the 1-yard line. From there it was pretty easy for Ken Hobart. Slide across.
Well, this is the thing that the Calgary Stampeders have done so well this year is not to give up silly plays like that, interferences and fumbles. They haven't hurt themselves, but tonight so far they have been pretty sluggish here in the first quarter, and I think that was the biggest fear of Wally Buono coming into this game after the loss last week in Edmonton, which was, you know, early in the season, but still a pretty crucial game. There's Damon Allen. Tells me he'll be ready next week. Hurt the knee last week against the Toronto Argonauts, and he said it's not as bad as first suspected. He should be ready to go in 1 week.
You know, when you look at the Ottawa Rough Rider roster and the people that they do have in place there when they get some of the injured ball players back, that team does have talent equal to just about any team in the league. There is an awful lot of talent on this team if they can get it to gel and get a break or two along the way.
Well, there's no question about that.
We'll win this one. I shall.
Brad Turney, the center, who's taken over for Irv Damon tonight. But Damon Allen's out. Manrich, the Juice, is out with that hamstring, and they do have a lot of talent to compete in this league.
This is Ronnie Hopkins with a chance to make much better use of this kick return. Hopkins stopped by Kyle Hall. And finally, the Stampeders have somewhat decent field position on a 15-yard return.
I guess they felt it better to kick it short, but I honestly believe the key in stopping the Calgary Stampeders and defeating them is to throttle their special teams and guys like Ronnie Hopkins who do such a good job at returning those kicks. If you win the special teams game against the Stampeders, I'll guarantee you you'll win the whole game.
We'll see if that comes true. 1st and 10. Calgary. The Stampeder 47. Barrett gets it out quickly to Derek Crawford, and Crawford has a first down. Stopped by Bruce Holmes, who's having a great year for Ottawa, leading the team in tackles coming in.
Well, Derek Crawford actually has been a pro for 6 years with some NFL and USFL experience. In 1984 and 85, he played for the Memphis Showboats in the USFL and caught 61 and 70 passes respectively in those years. I mean, so he is not entirely a rookie, new to the Stampeders, but I mean, this guy can play.
2 catches for Crawford so far tonight. First down, Calgary. Good fake by Barrett. He goes over the middle for Brock Smith. Smith couldn't hang on. That was Troy Wilson in front, and Scott Flagel coming up behind.
Scott Flagel and I had a great chat in the end zone before the game tonight about picking your spots as a middle safety. I said, you know, Scott, it's a fun spot to play, isn't it? And he said, yeah, but you really have to pick your spots. When you go to hit a guy, when you just try and intercept or knock it down. But this is one of those chances where you get your shot to take a shot at a guy and try and really drill him. And Scott Flagel saw it coming, read it perfectly, and Brock Smith paid the price for it. Scott Flagel, of course, one of the toughest guys that I can recall playing the middle safety.
Spent a little time as a Calgary Stampeder.
Well, he's been around the league a little bit. Started Winnipeg, went to Calgary, then to Hamilton, and now, of course, to Ottawa. Most valuable Canadian in 1987 was Scott Flagel. Brock Smith got that 25-game pass-catching streak, and he will be back tonight. He's a tough little customer. You know, he's only 6 foot, 175 pounds, but he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy, too, number 14 right there. And he looks inspired tonight. They want to win badly. I mean, you can feel it. Guys before the game said, I mean, we need it badly.
2nd and 10. Calgary, the Stampeders at the Ottawa 53. that pass tipped at the line.
Danny Barrett's pass intended for Davis for Hudson, however, it was hit by the defense.
So the Stampeders have not been able to move the football so far this evening with 5:38 to go in the opening quarter.
Well, last year, the real problem for the Ottawa Rough Riders on defense was lack of a pass rush. They've taken care of that this year. They 23 sacks coming into tonight's game. That's first in the league, and boy, they did the next best thing right there, too, knock that pass down. They really improved in that area.
Brent Maddich looking for the sidelines. He gets it. No return for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and that third down kick from Brent Maddich. A 38-yard kick. Ottawa will begin back inside the 30-yard line. Rough Riders have the lead by 10.
We had a CFL milepost Monday night at the stadium at BC Place in Vancouver as Louis Pasaglia broke Dave Cutler's all-time CFL scoring record with a convert on a touchdown in the third quarter. Pasaglia, though, had a chance to win the football game in the last play of the game. He was unable to make a field goal from 34 yards out. The agony and the ecstasy of Louis Pasaglia, a record, but a BC loss.
I feel like I let the team down. It wasn't like, you know, it's like the agony and the ecstasy, so to speak. I wish I had a better night. I'm happy about the record. Like, I'm glad that's over with. But I definitely feel like I let the team down. It's probably one of my worst games of my career.
Well, our congratulations to Louis Pasaglia. The record has been a long time coming for Louis this year, for the fact that he has had some injury problems and has not been up to his kicking best with a groin problem that has bothered him much of the 1990 season. But he is there. That is not the CFL record, Leaf. That is the all-pro record that Lou Pasaglia now owns ahead of Dave Cutler. On first down, there is no running room for Tony Cherry as Matt Finley makes a big defensive play.
Boy, he is really one of the unsung heroes of this Calgary defense. Has played so well in 1990. He started the last 8 games last year, and he's never looked back. The starter this year, watch how he stuffs the block and just makes the play on Cherry. I mean, you can't do it any better. Unbelievable. 6'2", 2 1/4. Great size, outside linebacker Matt Finley.
Lots of 3. This is 2nd and 13 Rough Riders. Ken Hobart looking deep, looking for Dossie. And that was a jump ball. Dossie really had to come back for it. There were Stampeder jerseys surrounding him.
Well, it's tough to throw over the top of the Calgary defense. They play probably the most disciplined zone of any secondary in the league, and they very rarely let any wide receiver get in behind them, and to throw over the top of it is really a tough and tall order for Kenny Hobart. He's got to be patient. I know it's 2nd and 13, but he's got to work his way underneath that defense.
Terry Baker, a couple of yards into his end zone. Eddie Brown lost the football. The Ottawa Rough Riders have a shot at the recovery, and they come up with their 2nd turnover of the night. Stampeders fumbling. Brent Lewis, number 36, special teams player.
Well, you know, we talked about if you beat them at the special teams, chances are you can beat them in the long run. And Eddie Brown cops one up. Brent Lewis with the recovery.
Former Bomber Rob Prodanovic helped create the problem down there. He was the first man on top of Brown. A couple of Rough Riders had a shot, but here is another opportunity for Ottawa early. First down at the Calgary 45 for the Rough Riders. Cherry is halfway to another first down, stopped by Darrell Hall. John Oates isn't out there tonight, is he?
Nope. The team. Hall and Oates. No, I got you. I'm with you. I do listen to the Danny Wicklum, the injured Stampeder, worked so hard in those special teams, and it's made me laugh tonight. Got the hat. Pretty funny guy.
The stories he couldn't tell were pretty funny, too.
Oh, yeah. No, he couldn't put those on the air.
Ottawa looking for a first down and coming up short. Conrad carrying that time. He needed 3. Got 2. Will Johnson made the stop. 3:24 remaining in the opening quarter with the Rough Riders in front of the Calgary Stampeders 10-0.
Ten to nothing, 3rd and 2. Boy, I'd love to see a fake field goal right here. Got nothing to lose. You're in Ottawa or Calgary territory.
Hobart is holding for Dean Dorsey. He'll spot it at the 44. And Dorsey is wide.
Should have tried the fake.
Might as well have.
Yeah. Dean's had a tough year.
Well, the one miss the other night.
What'd you call him? Dean, the kicking machine?
He was the kicking machine. Missed one the other night against the Tiger Cats 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Last play of the game. He knows how Louis Pasaglia feels after missing last night with a chance to win.
A lot of injuries for the Ottawa Rough Riders early this year, and they have been costly ones. Damon Allen might be ready next Tuesday night when the BC Lions visit Lansdowne Park. Reggie Barnes is a huge loss. He should be another couple of weeks yet, and John Mandridge should be ready next week as well.
First down, Calgary. Stampeder 37. Barrett from behind.
The Colkster.
Glenn Kulka coming through, 6'3", 250 pounds. Bakersfield College, I should say.
One of the much glorified free agents coming over from Toronto Argonauts, the Colkster. Picks up his 4th sack of the year. Tell you what, Ottawa's defense, I mean, they look pretty tough coming into tonight. Only 6th overall in the league, but the department they have improved the most on this team in any area is that pass rush, and that's their 24th sack of 1990, tops in the league.
Loss of 1. 2nd and 11, Calgary. Barrett carries himself and grabs maybe a yard. Paul McGowan made the stop.
That secondary is really coming together for Ottawa, too. 12 interceptions. The big ball hawk back there, of course, is Troy Wilson. That's the area they want to throw in. No room for Danny Barrett to throw the ball downfield, and it's a pretty good defense up front. Greg Stuman forced to play back to the inside, and Paul McGowan came up with the tackle.
Fred Manage, good kick for Stacey Dossie back at his 20. Flags are down. This return will be called back as Dossie has one man to beat. Manage forced him out. Dave Sapunjas was clipped by Troy Wilson.
That's tough. You know, I don't think Sapunjas was even going to make the tackle, but Wilson hit him right in the back. And boy, you know, I know the coaches in the meeting say till they're blue in the face, if you can't hit him properly, don't hit him at all. Pass him up. I mean, at least we saved 15 yards, but Troy Wilson tried to get away with it and got caught.
In the league of block, Ottawa number 25. First down, Ottawa.
I was Troy Wilson, number 26. Trust me.
I'll trust you.
Okay.
I believe you. So for the second time, the Ottawa Rough Riders have tough field position. Back inside the 15 for a first down. 1:27 to go in the opening quarter. Ottawa in front. 11-0. Hobart steps up, and Johnson got him. Number 81, Will Johnson. He's been mentioned a time or two already.
Well, this is Will Johnson's 14th game in the CFL with the Stampeders, and he's got 15 sacks in those 14 games. I'd say that's pretty good production from your defensive end. He's good size, too, with great speed. 6'5", 240 pounds, and he is quick.
Ottawa 2nd and 10 from the 12. Nowhere to go. There's Joe Clossy. Met Tony Cherry. Smack.
Well, you want to talk about a success story this year. Number 60, Joe Clossy, the rookie from Utah, is really a great story. Defensive end all through university career. Comes to camp and has to compete against Will Johnson. So what do they say? Listen, he can't beat out Will Johnson. We're going to try him in the middle. And he has adapted so well. He leads all linebackers in the league in interceptions with 4. And as you can see, he's pretty tough on the run.
Wally Buono says he was too good a football player to let go, so they had to find a place for him. Crawford waits for Terry Baker's kick. Near his 50, Stamps will get excellent field position on a good return. Bruce Holmes over to make the tackle. 46-yard kick, not bad. 15-yard return, pretty good too. And Calgary is inside the Ottawa 40, well, at the Ottawa 45.
Well, that's been the Stamps story so far this year, is to wear you down with their special teams and get good field position for the offense, so they're not playing on a long football field. And of course, right now they're playing on a pretty short field starting at the Ottawa 45, and that's the reason why they have been so successful in 1990.
This should be the last play of the opening quarter. Barrett on first down. Almost intercepted. Darrell Hopper had a shot, but couldn't come up with it that time. That is the end of quarter number 1. Calgary Stampeders struggling a bit offensively against the Ottawa Rough Riders. After 1, Ottawa leads 11-0.
What beer's all about.
Welcome back to our TSN Game of the Week. Ottawa leading Calgary 11-0. A bit of a surprise early, and figure this out, Leaf. Ken Hobart good on 0 for 4 for 0 yards. He has the lead. Dan Barrett has no points on the board. Good on 3 of 7 for 36. This is second down and 10 to go at Calgary. The Ottawa 45. Barrett to the far side. On target for Marshall Toner. Stopped by Troy Wilson.
Well, Kenny Hobart may not have completed a pass, gentlemen, but that long penalty against Junior Thurman trying to cover David Williams set up the one touchdown that's been scored so far. This Calgary bench is flatter than a plate. There is no emotion here at all, and the Stampeders are exceedingly fortunate. They only came out down 11 in the first quarter.
A gain of 13. This makes it first down, Calgary. And Toner, the intended receiver, tripped on the play.
Turf Monster got him.
Just jumped up and grabbed him by the left toe.
Turf Monster got him again. Well, you know, Peter talked about Calgary being flat. And that's really, I thought, what the concern of Wally Buono would be. How would they react from that loss? And so far, they haven't reacted very well. It's a big play for them right here, 2nd and 10. And first really good opportunity for them to take it in and score.
Stampeders at the Ottawa 31. This is Parker, and Parker stopped short of a first down. Well within field goal range. John Kropke made the stop for Ottawa, number 73.
And it is 3rd down.
Had some great years with the BC Lions. In fact, best year was 1988 when he had 851 yards rushing that season. Another 429 on pass receptions, and boy, a big part. And he was a big blocker for Tony Cherry. Interesting tonight that they are opposing each other.
Both wearing uniform number 20.
Yeah, Anthony used to wear number 19 out in BC.
Brent Maddox, or Mark McLaughlin, I should say. He's on target. Stampeders on the board, down by 8 points to the Ottawa Rough Riders. Mark McLaughlin good on 22 of 30 field goal tries so far in 1990.
Well, that's maybe what they need to get them on track tonight. A good punt return by Derek Crawford, of course, set up the field goal by Mark McLaughlin. And Wally Ball gets 3 points. He's having a fun year as the head coach. He's also still coaching, you know, a little bit. And his real project has been Joe Clossy, the middle linebacker. And Wally digging deep down and all the trickery that he had when he was a linebacker in his glory days with Montreal. Passing on the little tricks to Joe Clossy. And he's turning Clossy into a pretty competent middle linebacker.
Stacey Dossie on the return for Ottawa. Nice seam opens up down the left side, and Dossie is out near the 40-yard line. Stopped there, or at least forced out by Mark Singer, number 44, and Clossy. 30-yard return.
So Joe gets to play the special teams. We're talking about Joe Clossy, and a good hole opened up initially for Stacey Dossie, and the hit by Andy McVeigh, and then Joe Clossy cleans up at the end.
1st and 10, Ottawa. The Riders begin this drive from their own 40. Tony Cherry out across the 41, stopped by Ballard and Matt Finley.
Matt Finley made a great play. Good read on the draw. You know, he didn't drop back too deep in his pass coverage, and about the time that Cherry took the handoff, Matt Finley was just up and right at him. Boy, I know Ottawa really wanted to try and establish the run tonight, but so far they haven't been able to get anything going against Calgary.
They haven't established the pass either. Hobart underthrowing Canterbury.
Safety blitz coming, number 7, Daryl Hall from the weak side, second and long, perfect time to do it. And you watch the lane open up between the left tackle and the left guard, Smith and Roper, and Finley goes wide, and here comes Daryl Hall with the big hit and the underthrown ball as a result of that hit. He's a rookie from the University of Washington, all Pac-10 in 1988.
Terry Baker steps across his 30 to get a high kick away. Going to Derek Crawford, beginning at his 15. Crawford stopped at the 20 by Bruce Holmes. It's a flag down near the 30-yard line. Boy, Crawford's had quite a season so far. 2 punt return touchdowns and 1 kickoff return touchdown. They really felt that they had to get him into the lineup and get him the football a little bit. He started at wide receiver tonight.
That's funny.
Illegal block, Calgary number 18. First down, Calgary.
That's the newcomer Alan Pitts being called there. Some threatening clouds overhead. Well, hopefully it won't rain on the Stampeders parade here tonight. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium. Pretty good game going here between the Stampeders and the Ottawa Rough Riders. Ottawa into the early 10-point lead. Calgary came back with a field goal. It stands at 11-3 now. Calgary has the ball, but the Stamps are hemmed in once more, Leaf. They're back inside the 10-yard line for this sequence.
Terry Baker's had probably one of his better nights punting the football, of course, coming over from the Saskatchewan Rough Riders in the offseason. And they are hemmed deep.
This is Andy McVeigh out to the 10 and stopped by Greg Stuman, number 45. Is he the biggest impact player that the Ottawa Rough Riders picked up in all that free agency offseason bidding they were doing?
Well, I think he is, and for this reason alone, John, is they needed help desperately on defense. You know, offense, they didn't have too bad a personnel, but defense, they were really hurting. And Stuman's the kind of guy, well, he co-leads the league in sacks with Kent Warnock, and yeah, I think you're right. He is the impact player that they needed.
Gain of 3. Big hole opens up for Dan Barrett. Plenty for the first down. Barrett out near the 35 at the 34, and Derek White came over to make the stop. Boy, you could have driven a truck through that hole.
Now, what a great call by Danny Barrett. He's having a super year rushing the football, already with 4 rushing touchdowns, and the quarterback draw opens up. Good block along the right side. Brian Hutchings and Fairbanks, and 23 yards later, Danny Barrett has his team out of a huge hole. And as he's been doing all season long, he's making things happen.
First down, Calgary from the 34. Barrett, quick release pass for Crawford. Crawford lost the ball. The Ottawa Rough Riders have recovered. Touchdown possibility here as Scott Flagel waits for a block and carries it in. But a flag goes down right at the goal line. And it might have been an illegal block called against White, who tried to lead the way for Scott Flagel. It will be a first down for Ottawa, but the touchdown will be called back. 3 turnovers.
Well, big play by Flagel, but not too smart by Derek White. The block on Danny Barrett, he really didn't have to do anything to him. Flagel would have scored, and now instead of the touchdown, they'll have to go from the 5-yard line. I mean, it seems like a little thing, but
Calgary will be applied on a kickoff.
Oh, hang on. It's against Barrett. The penalty is against Barrett. Flagel's touchdown will stand.
Good job, Big Ben.
Well, we'll get
now, Barrett didn't have any reason to do that either. Dorsey adds the single point. So Flagel's touchdown does stand. The penalty goes against the Calgary Stampeders.
Wow, that was unusual. What a smart play by Scott Flegel, though. He was ready. And, you know, he looked intense tonight at the beginning of the game. With the big hit on Brock Smith early, and now scoops up the fumble. Gets a great bounce here. Derek White knocks the ball loose, and there's Flegel. And, well, I thought they were going to call Derek White for a little illegal block, but watch Danny Barrett. He grabs the face mask of Derek White, and yeah, that's touchdown for Scott Flegel. Boy, the Ottawa Rough Riders taking advantage of all the miscues of the Stampeders so far in the first half tonight.
Watch again here. There was contact between the quarterback and the cornerback, Barrett and White, but it was against Dan Barrett, who grabbed White's face mask. So Scott Flegel has a touchdown.
You know,
the Ottawa Rough Riders have a big lead.
You know, John, it's a funny thing. Ottawa is 1-5 on the season, but probably every team in the league doesn't want to play them right now because they just know it's a matter of time before Ottawa maybe gets it on track in a game. And boy, tonight they'll get it all on all cylinders here in the first half. And unfortunate for Danny Barrett, he had a good drive going there, and then the fumble.
Kickoff goes to Hopkins at the 5. What a great kick returner Hopkins is out to the 30. You look back at Ottawa's season, the first 4 losses were by a total of 12 points. So the Rough Riders have had their chances, and they've had some heartbreak.
Well, we talked to Steve Goldman about that tonight, and we said, you know, Steve, how do you turn it around? And he said, well, Leaf, I can't really put my finger on one specific area other than the fact that we maybe just need a big play at the right time. And, boy, they've had a few in this first half.
Well, we'll see if Scott Flegel's 43-yard touchdown on a fumble return is the big play Ottawa needs tonight. A long way to go, 10:33 to halftime. Ottawa in front 18-3. Barrett looking for Pitts, and that's the biggest gain for the Stampeders tonight. Derek White made the tackle on Alan Pitts. A 44-yard pass and run play from Barrett to Pitts.
Great move by Alan Pitts. He ran a stop and go. A good pump fake by Danny Barrett, and he lays it out for Alan Pitts, who's a great target at 6'4" and 200 pounds, rather, and 44 yards later. Boy, this is what you want to do, is answer that fumble recovery with a big play of your own, and Barrett stands tall, takes the hit, and delivers a strike to Alan Pitts. Now, with those numbers, he's the top rookie receiver in the league so far in 1990.
Calgary on first down from the 35. Parker carries. Stuman supplies the tackle.
That's what makes Greg Stuman such a great player. You know, we talked, John, about him being an impact player and not only a great pass rusher, as we've come to know in his career. 5 years in the Canadian Football League, but he slashes down the line of scrimmage as well as any defensive end in the league and makes those tackles.
Second and 8, Calgary now. Ottawa 33. Flags are down. Catch is made, and Derek White was there. Parker, number 20, made the catch well short of first down territory. And there is a flag down right on the line. Get the official call from Ken Lazarick.
Offside, Ottawa number 35, second down repeated.
It's the linebacker, Patrick Wayne.
That's a big break. Would have been third down there.
Now it's second and 3.
It's probably the reason why he got in quick enough to get the hit on Danny Barrett.
From the 27 then. Stampeders trailing 18-3. A chance to grab another first down here, but Andy McVeigh will come up short. Well short of the first down. McVeigh moved over in front of the goalpost. Bruce Holmes breaking it up.
More than a yard. More than a yard.
Yes, Wally, it's more than a yard.
Good job on the right side of the defensive line. Patrick Wayne initially stuffs it, and Bruce Holmes from his middle linebacking spot scrapes off. And the middle linebacker usually in short yard, it's just the guy that has to make the play. You hope to get penetration or the front forward nullifying the offensive line, and then your middle linebacker to clean up and make the play, which he did.
8:42 till halftime. Mark McLaughlin. Perfect so far tonight. This one from inside the 35 at the 34. McLaughlin on target, and he has accounted for all the Stampeders scoring so far tonight. The Ottawa Rough Riders taking advantage of turnovers so far. Lead Calgary by 12.
The 43-year history of the modern Stampeders, only 3 teams have done better or had better starts than this year's edition. And there they are, and it's interesting that 2 of them have won Grey Cups, and the other one got to the final.
Well, this season, the best start since 1971, the last Grey Cup win by the Calgary Stampeders, ironically over the Toronto Argonauts, who are struggling tonight and are finished for the evening as Winnipeg posts its 5th win of the season, 27-23.
So Winnipeg retains first place in the Eastern Conference. They played Hamilton, of course, last week and decided rather than go back to Winnipeg, they would stay in the Hamilton-Toronto area, practice all week, and I think that was maybe a good move. Got them ready to play tonight and defeat the Argonauts.
First down Ottawa here at McMahon Stadium. Riders begin at the 35. It is Hobart, a quarterback, looking to complete his first pass. He does, but it's intercepted. David McCrary on the return for Calgary. First turnover given up by Ottawa tonight. McCrary stumbling down near the 40-yard line. 25-yard return for David McCrary. Stephon Jones coming to make the tackle on McCrary after the interception.
Well, lots of time for Kenny Hobart in the pocket. The offensive line doing a tremendous job of pass protection, but the receivers downfield just could not get open. And finally, when he spots somebody, he simply overthrows. Boy, oh boy. James Ellingson.
Calgary number 2. First down, Calgary.
And David McCrary comes up with his first interception of the season.
Well, it's not quite as bad as it looked for Ottawa on that return by McCrary.
That's 3. I'm just 1 behind you, Chris.
An illegal block on the return by McCrary takes the ball back near the 45 at the 47-yard line. But still great field position for Danny Barrett and his Stampeders, trailing 18-6 for the Ottawa Rough Riders. With 7:44 to play in the opening half. Short of the first down. Darrell Hopper, pretty good hits on Derek Crawford.
John, I do believe I said that was David McCrary's first interception of the year, and
David corrected you rather quickly, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, he said he's 1 behind. I'm 1 behind you, Chris, and I know he was referring to Chris Major, who's got 4. So buddy that used to play here at Calgary.
Gain of 8. This is 2nd and 2, Calgary. Right at midfield. Another flag goes down. We've had a few tonight.
Well, it's going to be an offside against the Ottawa Rough Riders. You know, I'll let Ken give us the call.
Offside, Ottawa number 38. First down, Calgary.
It's a good thing when Ken gives us the call, he names the guy, so we can say it was Miller.
But you know what? I think it's sometimes good on a 2nd and short like that. I mean, on defense, take a bit of a chance. If you get caught for the offside, so what? But, you know, if you time it just perfectly, maybe you stuff them in the hole.
First down, Stampeders. Now at the Ottawa 50. Oh, and Marshall Toner had a great opportunity.
Well, you can't read it any better than Danny Barrett did. The blitz was coming. He had Toner called in a quick post. Perfect spot to go. The middle vacated by Bruce Holmes. The only trouble was, Marshall didn't hang on to the football. And Danny Barrett, 7 of 13 in the first half tonight, 113 yards. Pretty much his season average of 58%.
2nd and 10 facing Barrett now. Tries the other side. No mistake about it this time. Stampeders have their first touchdown. A 50-yard touchdown toss from Dan Barrett to Derek Crawford. in front of Darrell Hopper. McMahon's alive now.
Danny Baird read it perfectly. Scott Flagel, number 14, the middle safety, came up right on the line of scrimmage. The safety blitz coming. The post is the absolute perfect pass pattern to call. Derek Crawford gets inside Darrell Hopper, and that's all she wrote, and the Stampeders are on their way back.
Hopper had a shot at him, actually made contact, but Crawford just ran right by him. Point after by Mark McLaughlin is on target, and we're back in the ball game in Calgary.
I mean, you can't draw it up on the blackboard any better. Blitz, throw the post in the middle, and you get 6 points. And there goes Northern Dancer.
Leading the Calgary Stampeders 18-13. This is the TSN Game of the Week. We're live at McMahon.
Top right-hand side of your screen, you'll see 14 Scott Flagel coming. Look at the middle. It's wide open. And Derek Crawford, who's turned into the big play man in the Calgary Stampeder offense and on their special teams, runs the perfect post pattern, and Danny Baird, well, you cannot read it any better. This is why the Calgary Stampeders are in first place in the West. They are making the big plays at the right times, and although they have struggled in the first half, they find themselves right back in this ball game with that touchdown. 18-13 they trail.
50-yard toss from that guy.
Kind of says it all. Danny Baird there.
My kids, I love you.
We're talking about Derek Crawford, and you mentioned earlier that he has a punt return and a kickoff return for touchdowns this year. First Stampeder in the club history to do that in one season.
Stacey Dowsey on the return for Ottawa. And he'll give the Rough Riders excellent field position out at the 42. Stopped there by Joe Clausey.
3-yard kickoff by Mark McLaughlin, return 30 by...
Pretty good effort by Derek Crawford. His 4th touchdown in the last 3 games. 63 yards in 4 plays. It took him a minute and a half. And maybe that'll be the spark the Stampeders need.
Turnover got that drive going, Leaf.
David McCrary with his 3rd interception led to that Crawford touchdown, and Steve Goldman with a worried look on his face, and this game is turning around in a hurry.
Ottawa. Hobart can't connect.
Hobart's pass
The
is
Duke.
for James Ellingson.
James Ellingson coming over in that trade for Orville Lee could not hang on. This is his first game in a Rough Rider uniform coming into tonight with the Green Rough Riders of Saskatchewan. Of course, he had 18 catches. But no, you talk about statistics. Here's Ottawa leading by 5. We're halfway through the second quarter. They got 34 yards in total offense. Calgary has 195 and Calgary's behind. You figure it out.
Hobart is 0 for 7. There's part of the story. He tries again here, dumping it out. And Cherry makes the catch. But Ford makes the tackle. No gain. Ottawa will kick it away.
Usually a pretty good team to screen against is the Calgary Stampeder defense because they play so much zone coverage, but Kenny Ford saw it right off the bat. See, he sees Cherry sneak out into the flat, and then he starts coming. He comes hard. Number 54, Herb Damon, cannot get out and get the block, and the results here, Ottawa has to punt 2 and out. Boy, you don't like that. The defense is starting to be on the field quite a bit.
Bounce back to Terry Baker, but no problem getting this kick away. Another good one back at the 15. This is Crawford. Slowed down. And actually, that was enough to make him fall over the 30-yard line. David Conrad was there. 17-yard return, 55-yard kick.
Coming up at the half here on the CFL on TSN, we'll have a sports update from TSN Control in Toronto. You will meet the man who scored the last touchdown for the Calgary Stampeders, fine young man from Memphis, Tennessee. And Mr. Pedersen will pick out a few plays of note and bring them to us in highlight form.
Boy, there's a few highlights coming up in a hurry here.
We'll also talk to Wayne Scanlon of the Ottawa Citizens. First down Calgary, the heat is on. Barrett gets it away somehow. But it was going nowhere. Anthony Parker was the intended receiver, I think. He was closest to the ball, but Barrett was hit as he threw.
The guy in the first row was the intended receiver because Danny Barrett just unloaded that thing. But let's go back to Stuman and Fairbanks. And That's a good job by Lloyd. Stuffs him down to the inside, but finally the pressure came from the other fellas on that defense, and Danny Barrett did the smart thing and threw it away. And you know, time and time again, we allude to the fact that that's what makes him such a competitive quarterback in this league, the fact he just does not beat himself. Threw it away and said, hey, the worst it's going to be is 2nd and 10.
That's what it is. Stampeders at the 32. Brock Smith reaches behind to make the catch. Nice grab. And Troy Wilson over from his halfback spot to stop Smith after a 15-yard gain.
A nice pattern. Brock Smith pits, works his way to the outside. Smith comes underneath. Good catch. 2nd and 10. You know, you start converting those, you're doing a good job on offense. And Danny Barrett has done a good job converting those 2nd downs tonight.
Another Calgary first down. Too far for Crawford once more. 3:56 till halftime. Ottawa in control of a 5-point lead, but they had a 10-point lead much earlier.
Hopper knows he has help deep from the inside safety, Troy Wilson. And that is a tough pass to complete. Initially, it looks like, wow, my guy's got to be deep, but it's the zone coverage with some help coming from the inside. And that old zone squeezes down in a hurry.
2nd and 10, Stampeders at the Calgary 47. Barron has to get out of there. Brock Smith, first down. That was a good play by Barrett.
Danny Barrett, of course, a great running quarterback and seems to have a sixth sense back there. And when the pressure is coming, he gets away. And Lloyd Lewis, 76, in good pursuit, just can't get him down in time before he delivers the football. Brock Smith, once again, another nice job downfield to adjust his pattern to a scrambling quarterback. And boy, Stampeders once again are putting together another nice drive.
21-yard gain. Stampeders now at the Ottawa 42. Andy McVeigh couldn't hang on, swinging out of the backfield.
Should have had it.
Brett Young was right with him, though. He wouldn't have gone far, I don't believe.
They don't expect much on that pass in the flat at first down. They're just hoping for maybe 6 or 7. Ottawa pressure coming so close. That time Barrett again hit just as he releases the football. Boy, it gets frustrating for defensive line when, you know, you get a hand on him, but he's still able to throw the football.
Calgary at the 42 of Ottawa. Barrett has another first down. Marshall Toner, clutch catch in front of Bruce Holmes. So the Stampeders are on the march. They have moved inside the Ottawa 25 and will scrimmage there when we return to McMahon Stadium.
A look at the standings in the CFL West Division as the Calgary Stampeders by a point in front of the Edmonton Eskimos at this point in the season. Saskatchewan starting to play a little better football, and the British Columbia Lions right there as well. Calgary's at Winnipeg next Tuesday night, so a win here tonight would make sure that Calgary could stay in first place for another week in the CFL West.
Well, Wally Buono has got the Calgary Stampeders rolling here now, but mostly it's quarterback Dan Barrett who has engineered a 50-yard drive to this point. All passing plays, Leaf. He has not gone to the ground.
Well, you know, it's the same old thing. I mean, they check the statistics just like everybody else. And, you know, this week, while Danny Barrett was getting ready to play against Ottawa, he saw that the Ottawa secondary is allowing about a 60% pass completion rate against it. So Danny is no fool. He said, I think I might throw the ball. We might throw the ball a little bit tonight. And so far in the first half, he's 11 of 20, 214 yards. And I'd say he's having a pretty good night.
242 yards total offense for Calgary compared to 37 for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Despite that, Ottawa has the advantage, 18-13. But the Stampeders threaten to take the lead here. One bounce. And Alan Pitts was the intended receiver. Little doubt about who the leader of this Calgary Stampeder football team is. He wears number 8.
Well, he was the MVP on the team last year, rightfully so, and boy, he's having a great 1990.
2nd and 10, Stampeders now. Ottawa 27. Flag goes down as Barrett looks to the end zone, and he's off target. Brock Smith, number 85, was his intended that time.
Well, Danny's taken some hits when he's released the football tonight. John Kropke comes in just as Barrett releases the football, and well, it seems like every time he releases it, he has ended up on his back in the first half. And of course, you know, that will take its toll. Ottawa not getting the sacks, but a lot of pressure, a lot of hits.
2nd down repeated.
I guess that's why Kropke got there and got the hit. He was offside. That's happened a couple times tonight. The other one, of course, Patrick Wayne. Danny got to be a durable guy.
So this is 2nd and 5.
It's funny, Ottawa getting a little bit of pressure, and Calgary's got the best offensive line in the league coming into tonight's game at protecting the quarterback.
Barrett tries to take it himself. He's going nowhere. Field goal situation. Kropke got even. Had a hold of his foot that time when Kolka was also there.
Well, nevertheless, a good drive put together by Danny Barrett. Some nice catches by Brock Smith and Marshall Toner. Get it into field goal range for Mark McLaughlin, who is pretty much Mr. Automatic.
58-yard march ends right here. Unless they fake it on 3rd and 4. Looks like they'll go for the 3.
Well, he's in a nice groove, Mark McLaughlin. Just a nice chip shot there as he knew he didn't have to go very far with that kick. Does a nice job.
Stampeders have now battled back within 2 of Steve Goldman's Ottawa Rough Riders. Ottawa taking the early lead. Turnovers hurting Calgary. One in particular, long touchdown run by Scott Flagel on a fumble return. Ottawa had a 15-point advantage at one stage of proceedings here now, and into the final 2 minutes of the opening half.
Doing now, fellas. We can get the ball back.
Well, it's been like 2 different quarters, hasn't it? All Ottawa in the first quarter, and then Calgary has come storming back. Kenny Hobart has struggled, has he not?
-2 in passing, 0 for 8, and 1 interception, which got the Stampeders rolling en route to their first touchdown.
Yeah, not the way he wanted to get this thing going.
No, he's been anxious to get a start.
Yes. Had a couple of drop balls on him.
Stacey Dossey has problems near the 10. Dossey on the sideline. It's a pretty good block, and he's out to the 45. Ottawa's had good field position tonight, stopped by Greg Peterson.
What a great return that was by Stacey Dossey. He fumbled the kick and picked it up, and it looked like he had no room down the sidelines. And oh boy, this is just a tremendous return, and he's enjoyed a great night, as John Wells just mentioned. Look at that, good speed to get by the Calgary cover team, and then breaks it back for a few more yards. And Hobart will direct that offense from pretty good field position.
From the 44, Ottawa first down. Hobart has his first completion. Ken Abrera comes up a little short of the first down.
Well, that's what he has to do all the way down the field on first down situations. Ottawa in that zone. Run your inside receivers on those little hooks to the outside or hooks back to the inside. And that's what Kenny Abrera did. Hobart hit him. Second completion. But he has to do a steady diet of that. I mean, heck, you're in great shape. You still lead the game by 2 points. Just be smart about how you direct this offense.
First down for Tony Cherry, stopped by Greg Peterson.
It was funny, talking with Ken tonight, he said, you know, that's what I have to do tonight is really be patient and get the good production on first down so I'm not in 2nd and long all night long. And boy, that was a perfect example. 7 yards to Abrera and then a draw for Cherry. That's easy to pick up the first down.
Minute 29 now till halftime. Ottawa in the lead by 2 at 18-16. First down, Rough Riders. Picked off by Hall. This is Darryl Hall. Second interception given up by Hobart tonight. second interception of the season for Darryl Hall.
Well, this is not the place to throw the football against Calgary secondary. I mentioned they play an extremely disciplined zone, and those lanes squeeze down in a hurry. There you see all the guys converging on Abrere. I mean, had that ball been on target, Abrere was going to get corked. It was overthrown, and Darryl Hall gets his second interception of the season. I mean, that is great defense, and I think it's not a good play by Kenny Hobart. You just can't throw into it like that.
Pitts has a first down. He's inside the 40. Dropped down by Brett Young. 24-yard gain, so the Stampeders with 1:06 to go till the half have a chance to get more points here.
Alan Pitts coming in tonight, 21.8 yards every time he touches the football through the air. Great average. Kicked around a couple of tryouts in the NFL and came to the Stampeders as a free agent back in the spring to one of their camps.
Barrett carries himself. Another Calgary first down as Barrett slides in, safe at the 21.
Boy, you have to like the way Danny Barrett plays quarterback, don't you? You know, when he sees that opening, I mean, he doesn't hesitate and, you know, try and force or throw a ball downfield. He says, look, I got 10 yards running it right now. I'm going to take it and keep this thing moving. That's super.
Calgary first down to the far side, and that'll be another Stampeder first down. Derek Crawford. He's had a big night. A 13-yard gain with 45 seconds till the half. Calgary has a chance to take the lead. Pretty good bet they will.
Boy, this looks like a practice session for them right now. Ottawa is really backing off the receivers, and Danny Barrett just throwing anything he wants.
Barrett looks to the corner, and Eddie Brown can't come down with it. Derek White had pretty good coverage on Brown.
Let's go, G! Tough it up, baby!
Move back, you guys. Move back.
36 seconds till halftime now. Two chances to hit the end zone for Barrett. Ottawa leading 18-16. Second and goal from the 8. Barrett gets pressure. Brett Young comes up with the ball. So it was a pretty good bet they'd come up with points. But it doesn't happen. 28 seconds to go. Ottawa should hold the lead at halftime.
Boy, how Patrick Wayne missed the sack, I do not know. He came in clean, and what a good interception by Brett Young in the end zone to snuff out a great looking Calgary drive. That's his second of the year. Brett Young played cornerback for the Riders all of last year and now moved to the inside safety spot. Good one-on-one cover guy. 5'10", 180 pounds, University of Oregon. Turnover story a big part in this first half, especially for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
David
Conrad carried for 5.
30-yard line.
Wind is picking up a little bit here in Calgary. Now 25 seconds till a half. Conrad again, and he'll have a first down, but time has all but run out of the Ottawa Rough Riders in the first half. 2 seconds unofficially on the clock. Calgary with 298 yards total offense compared to 55 for Ottawa.
On the final play.
Hobart goes down. That is the final play of the opening half. First quarter belonged to the Ottawa Rough Riders, the second to the Calgary Stampeders. Those teams head to the dressing room now with just 2 points between them.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your halftime masters.
Welcome back. We are ready for the second half to begin at McMahon Stadium in Calgary on a great night for football. Some clouds in the distance, but I think we'll stay dry. What do you think?
Well, you never know at Calgary. I mean, it could be sunny in 20 minutes. You could have a hailstorm, and then another 20 minutes, sunny again. It's actually cooled off quite a bit in the last half hour here. But
must be pretty chilly for you because you don't like the cold weather.
I tell you, it gets under 60, and I get uncomfortable.
Mark McLaughlin has the second half underway. Stacey Dossie for the Ottawa Rough Riders in the return. He's had a great night already and gives Ottawa good field position out near the 50-yard line.
5-yard kickoff to start this second
Stacey Dossie's been just about the highlight for the Ottawa Rough Riders, other than the fact they've been able to capitalize on some turnovers. That's about the only blemish on a Calgary record that improved a lot in the second quarter. 298 net yards to just 61 for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
All right.
Well, let's see what Ottawa can do to start the second half. Hobart has to be better as a passer. And that's a better start. Close to a first down as Hobart is on target for the Duke, James Ellingson.
Well, the Duke ran a great pattern, and this is what Hobart has to do on first down. It's you know, it can become a very simple game. I think sometimes they make it too complicated for themselves, but you know, if you'll recall, late in the second quarter, he completed a pass like that to Kenny Avrare. A little hook to the outside, and in his own defense, I mean, it's the perfect play. Now, Kenny, if you want to have success in the second half, I suggest you stay with that kind of stuff.
Close enough for a measurement. Ottawa out in front of Calgary 18-16. Not much to go for the first down.
Air it out.
Gamble on this one?
Air it out. You got it. I mean, he can fall forward and pick that up on third down.
Okay. Coach Pedersen has made his call.
No, but you know, like a team's 1-5 and they're struggling. I mean, I think you got to do something and try and excite the rest of the guys. They've let Calgary get back into the game, and boy, a big play here on a second and short. You know, I think that really set them on fire.
Well, that shows what you know. I agree with you absolutely. It would have been a good position to take a little bit of a gamble and do that. Get your first down on third down if you missed the pass.
He almost had trouble picking up that exchange from center, but kept it long enough to pick up the first down. Well, I don't know. When you're struggling, I think you always have to try and do that little extra or that little unexpected thing that maybe turns the game around and, of course, turns your season around for you. I think Ottawa's looking for that tonight.
Ottawa 1st and 10 at the Calgary 51. Hobart down. Will Johnson through for the sack, his second of the evening. 8th of the season.
He does a great job to the outside. Watch Brian Hillebrand, 61. He's expecting Hobart to go to the outside and follow him around the corner, but Hobart cuts in, and that's when Will Johnson cuts in. And, I mean, you really can't fault Brian Hillebrand, the right guard, on that. He's expecting Hobart to go to the outside, and Will Johnson comes up with the sack.
Now the Rough Riders are in a definite passing situation. 2nd and 16. And the Stampeders will be ready for it. Williams over his head. Coverage supplied by Darrell Hall.
Oh, the illusion of the zone defense once again. Junior Thurman rolled up in a short coverage, and he knew he had help deep from Darrell Hall. Kenny Hobart sees Williams come free, and he's thinking, oh boy, I got him deep. But the illusion of the zone is Darrell Hall picked up the deep outside third of the field, and no way that pass could be completed. Ottawa has to get production on first down tonight, or they're going to have trouble hanging on and winning this football game.
Terry Baker. Flag is down, and Baker rolls it out near the 8-yard line. Too many players out there for the Stampeders. There is a flag.
Didn't catch it.
Old Eagle Eye Bobby Layden had the bifocals on it. I think he might have picked up something.
They're looking a little thicker this year, you know.
And if he did grab something tonight, it would be a bonus for us.
Too many players. Calgary decline.
One for Bobby Layden. Tonight's TSN Turning Point will be brought to you by National Trust.
Life beer.
18-16, the Ottawa Rough Riders lead the Calgary Stampeders. And we have a moment here while an injured Stampeder is attended to. Let's have a look back to Sunday's action at Taylor Field in Regina, where the Saskatchewan Rough Riders atoned for a tough outing in Edmonton 3 weeks before to beat the Eskimos on this day. Tracy Ham under pressure the whole game. Bobby Jurison had only 1 sack coming into the game. He got 3 in this one contest, and the Riders, in fact, had 7 altogether. Ken Austin to Ray Elgard. This was a combination that worked 8 times in the game for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns for the veteran number 81, the all-time leading receiver. Ken Austin's got a problem with the thumb on his right hand, but no problem on this day. 49-24, the Riders beat the Eskimos.
That's Paul Clatney being attended to by the Stampeder training staff. Shaken up on the last kick return, the last punt return. He is one of the Stampeder leaders on special teams.
Not a good sign when the cart comes out.
10:57 remaining in the third quarter. Maybe we can pick it up here.
Well, there's 29 going in just as the tackle is being made, and you see his own player kind of clips his knee out. Number 7, Darrell Hall. Looks as though the right knee. It must be the left one. Very unfortunate. Well, Clatney works so hard on those special teams, as do so many of the Calgary Stampeders, and one of the reasons why they've had so much success this year.
Clatney worked real hard on rehabilitation to get back to playing football. He was seriously injured as a member of the Blue Bombers. There were those who thought he might not be able to play the game again, but he got back, made the Calgary Stampeders, made an impression here, and really led the Calgary Stampeders special teams in this 1990 season. So that's all for Clatney tonight, we would guess, as he heads to the Stampeder dressing room. 1st and 10 now for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Ottawa beginning at the Calgary 42. Hobart, short pass right over the middle. Cherry has a first down.
Perfect call on first down. Calgary drops off once again, only the 4-man rush, and Tony Cherry sneaks through that pass rush of the front 4 and takes a little dump pass for Hobart. Easy pass to complete, and well, he ends up with 9 yards. I mean, you can't do it any better than that. That's what Ottawa has to do in the second half. They can't live with 2nd and 10 and 2nd and long all the time against this Calgary defense. They're too tough.
2nd and 1 Ottawa. And Conrad gets the call. He'll have the first down as he gets inside the 30. Stopped there by Darrell Hall. Ottawa 18, Calgary 16. The Rough Riders scoring 11 points in the opening quarter. Calgary coming back the big second quarter. And turnovers really setting up all of Ottawa's scoring here tonight.
Yeah, that long fumble recovery for the touchdown by Scott Flagel got them off to a great start.
Hobart looks deep and too far. Stephon Jones, and that's really the first time that Jones and Hopkins have gone at it tonight.
Yeah, I believe that's the first time they've thrown Stephon Jones' way. The right call, though. One of the few times that Calgary does come with the blitz, and the Ottawa Rough Riders pick it up nicely. Hobart has good time to throw. Will Johnson with a little pressure late, but Hobart had plenty of time to get that ball off to Jones, just overthrown.
2nd and 10 now, Ottawa.
That's the thing about Ottawa this year, that just haven't hit at the right times. I mean, they had the right play called against a vulnerable defense, and they just couldn't hit it.
This is Cherry. He'll have the first down. Cherry gets inside the 20, forced out by Junior Thurman, number 2. Nice 15-yard gain. The Rough Rider drive continues.
Great
Sharper
job.
Ottawa offensive team in the second half.
Well, it is, and Tony Cherry made a great read quickly. He saw Greg Peterson on the safety blitz up the middle. He knew the only way he was going to get the first down was to bounce it to the outside, and he simply outran Matt Finley to the outside. That's a super run. Boy, he wanted to have a big night tonight. This is really his chance. You know, Reggie Barnes came in and was super until his knee injury, and now they're counting on Cherry to get back in top form.
Loose ball. Calgary Stampeders recover. The middle linebacker, Joe Clossy, recovers Hobart. Had trouble taking the ball from center, so a costly turnover for Ottawa. with a chance to come up with some points anyway, Lee, but the Rough Riders go away empty.
I think Joe Clossy has become the greatest snuffer-outer of potential scoring drives in an early 1990 season. He picks up the fumble recovery here on the snap from center, and he had a couple of interceptions a few weeks ago against John Conjemi and the Argos in the end zone. And wow, what a great story he's been. Boy, he's my rookie of the year so far.
Snuffer-outer, they're the English teachers all across Canada.
I like that.
Just cringing.
Snuffer-outer.
Andy McVeigh out of the backfield. Stopped short of the first down. Another loose ball. Back to Ottawa. Scott Flagel, second fumble recovery of the night. Both have been easy for Flagel. The ball has bounced right into his arms.
It is another turnover.
Well, they have been easy. Well, you know, like, I can't figure it out. Like, it seems like every game we either do or watch this year, John, so many turnovers. And I mean, people ask me, and I have no explanation for it other than the fact that I just honestly think that a lot of times the guys don't cover up the football, number one. And number two, the defenses around the league are really making an effort to strip the balls loose from guys, and it's happening a lot.
8 turnovers tonight. Wow. The latest gives Ottawa first down inside the Calgary 30. Hobart gets pressure now. He's down. Walter Ballard through. Ballard's second sack of the season.
Quarterback sack.
49th sack of a great 8-year career for the fellow they call Dr. Ballard, playing the left-end spot tonight, and good speed to catch Kenny Hobart from behind. Picks up his second sack of 1990.
Second down and long. Third sack for the Stampeders, puts the pressure back on Ottawa. James Ellingson can't get away.
Hobart's pass is complete to James Ellingson. Peterson and Hopkins in on the tackle. It is well short of the first down.
A 9-yard gain, but well short of a first down, so send out the field goal units.
Well, it really results from the second and long situation. Ottawa cannot be successful tonight if they find themselves that way. We've talked about it. Too tough a defense to convert 2nd and 15 all the time.
Nice snap. Hobart brings it down, and Dorsey has another field goal, adding to the Ottawa lead. Now at 21-16. The Ottawa Rough Riders get 2 cracks at it. 2 cracks at a decent scoring drive that might have netted a touchdown, but they come away with 3 points.
A super year in the secondary for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and you know, with 13 takeaways, 6 by interception, 7 by fumbles, I asked them, are you lucky or a great knack for getting the ball?
Well, I think as far as the interceptions have gone, I've been able to put myself in the right position to make the plays, and we've been getting a very good pass rush up front, and the ball's just been kind of coming down in my area and in my way. The interceptions, the fumble recoveries, I believe, are just totally 100% luck. You know, the ball bounces on the ground, and most of the time it's jumping up my arms. Last week I had one that flew halfway across the field right into my arms, so I've been pretty lucky so far.
Well, he's honest, eh? You know, you gotta like that.
Barrett is on target for Crawford, and Crawford streaks down the sidelines. Forced out by Scott Flagel. 36-yard gain as Barrett strikes quickly. 6:47 to go, third quarter. Ottawa still in the lead, 21-16.
Crawford with the pass from Danny Barrett. He makes a great move. Gets to the Riders' 39-yard
nice
line.
move by Derek Crawford back to the inside to get around Darrell Hopper. 36 yards later, the Calgary Stampeders find themselves in scoring position in a hurry.
First and 10 Calgary now at the Ottawa 39. Andy McVeigh has nowhere to go. Stopped by Glenn Kulka.
The ball carrier, but he is
Ottawa Rough Riders General Manager Joanne Polak joins us in our broadcast location here. Nervous time.
Oh, yeah. This is sort of the way all of our games have been all season. Not quite like this, though. I think this has got to be a first.
Thank goodness for the turnovers going your way tonight.
Usually they go the other way.
Think positively now.
We are.
Second and 10. Barrett in some trouble. Got it away. for Cherry. Did that bounce once? Flag is down in the secondary. This is Parker, and he takes it all the way. A 40-yard touchdown, but there's a flag down. We'll check it out for you. Anthony Parker. This one might be coming back.
Well, folks, if you heard a huge sigh of relief, it's because Joanne Polak is sitting right beside us. And
offensive pass interference. Calgary number 18, second down repeated.
There's a break, Joanne.
There's a break.
What's going on now? You're feuding with Normie Kwong, Mike McCarthy. Like, who's next?
I never started.
I know.
They always take the first shot, but I'm not going to sit by and bite my tongue. That's not like me.
Good finisher.
Actually, Mike and I are talking to each other again.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah.
Talking trade? No.
No.
Second and 20. Stampeders back at the 50 now. Barrett looks deep. Crawford, the intended receiver, he's off target.
Pass intended for Derek Crawford, out of bounds, incomplete.
Darryl Hopper was covering. Well, what about the controversy in Ottawa these days, Joanne? Is your coach's job on the line?
Well, I think everybody in Ottawa and our board of directors are very, very pleased with how far our team has come, in a year and a half. And, there's no question we want to win more games, but people have really seen a lot more exciting football, like right there.
There's a block punt. Ottawa with Flegel coming up with it. Flegel has 3 fumble recoveries tonight. He's had a big night.
He sure has.
Riders football.
Well, Joanna, talking to all the players before the game, they said, like, tonight, we really need this one. I mean, we need a win badly for, like, a whole bunch of reasons.
They sure do. Everyone needs it. We need to be able to pick it up because it's difficult to lose game after game, especially when we should have won, quite a few of them. So we need it just to help our spirits more than anything. They want it more than anybody.
Well, the encouraging thing is, you're averaging over 27,000 fans a game at Lansdowne this year. And I mean, you've lost some games, but it's been entertaining football.
No, it sure has. Everybody's getting their money's worth, and people are staying right to the end of the game.
And first down, Hobart looks over the middle and has another first down for the Ottawa Rough Riders down near the 10. Ken O'Brien makes the catch. You got him on a roll. I'm glad you dropped by.
Yeah, I think I might just stay here.
Stay for the touchdown? Is it coming?
I don't know.
16-yard gain. Ottawa leading the Calgary Stampeders 21-16. Himself, and Hobart scores.
Hobart is by far the fans' favorite. They're really hoping he does well here tonight.
Now, why would that be? David Allen does a pretty good job. I guess it's the old story of the backup quarterback being the most popular player on the team, is it?
That's right. At the beginning of the season, when Tony Kimbrough was the backup quarterback, everybody was chanting Kimbrough, Kimbrough. So who knows? You can't predict it.
Boy, he got a great block here from number 23, Jed Tommy, on the middle linebacker, Joe Clossy, and that sprung him into the end zone. But, boy, that's what you want to do. Take advantage of the turnover. Scott Flegel with the block punt and recovery, and a couple plays later, big touchdown by Kenny Hobart, his second of the night.
And one more for the Ottawa total, make it 28-16. The Ottawa Rough Riders leading the Calgary Stampeders. It did not look this bright at halftime, Joanne.
No, it
even
didn't.
Though you did have the lead.
It did not look this bright. They look like a different team this quarter.
Well, you have to give them credit, I mean, they got off to a great start, and the second quarter was all Calgary. They came back, and now to come out in the third quarter, I'm sure Steve Goldman, although he looks a little perturbed at this point, is very pleased with the way the team has answered the call in the second half.
Steve looks that way all the time.
Yeah, I know. He's, I've known Steve for a long time. He's a great guy. He's a lot of fun to be around, and but I tell you, on the sideline, you think he's lost his best friend on every play.
He's one of the most intense people I have ever known. I think very, very highly of him. I think he's a terrific individual, and I know the players really like him too.
There are flags down after the convert there, and Steve doesn't know what's going on. We'll get the official word from Ken Lazarick here. Looks like it might be a rough play penalty going both ways, but they have been slow in sorting this one out. So what about you and Normie Kwong? Headlines in the paper today. What did it say?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. It kind of surprised me. No, Norm's a good guy. He really is.
Well, now, he said that if he was the general manager in Ottawa, he'd be looking at giving Steve the 9 of hearts here.
And I told him he should mind his own business and worry about his own club and putting his own fans in the stands.
And I agree with
Yeah,
you.
I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with that. People are really interested in telling us how to run our football team this year. It's really quite something else.
We have a major foul, unnecessary roughness, 37 Ottawa. We have a disqualification, 37 Calgary.
So Matt Finley gets the gate for Calgary. And I don't know who 37 Ottawa is. Do you?
No, don't have him.
Not on my program.
So that's a good one. Matt Finley goes and the unknown guy from Ottawa goes.
Who might that have been?
They don't like to lose Matt Finley. Boy, he's having a great year. 7th game now, starting the outside. He is a good one. Had a good game tonight, but he will play no longer. Well, you talk about things that drive coaches crazy. You know, probably a little push and shove in the end zone, punch here and there, and they get caught, and that's it.
4:14 to play in the third quarter with the Ottawa Rough Riders out in front, 28-16. Now, I don't imagine you feel confident until there is about 40 seconds left in the ball game.
You've seen a lot of our games this year. No, I mean, I have a lot of faith in them, don't get me wrong.
Dean Dorsey back to kick off after the Ottawa touchdown. This is Ron Hopkins over the 4,000-yard mark in career kick returns, adding more to that total now. With good coverage upfield by Holmes, the middle linebacker. Well, we wish you luck the rest of the way tonight and the rest of the season. Keep packing them in at Old Lansdowne, will you?
Well, thanks a lot, John.
Joanne, thanks very much for coming by. The Ottawa Rough Riders in control, 28-16 with 4:07 to go.
John, you know, I think she's done a great job as general manager of the Ottawa Rough Riders. And, you know, as you and I travel around from park to park, I can't think of 2 stadiums where they have more fun than here at McMahon and at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. I mean, at commercial timeouts, they have that great music playing. They're dancing in the stands. And these 2 clubs, well, I mean, it's my fantasy Grey Cup, but I think you might agree. Kind of nice.
Well, I mean, dreams do come true. It could happen to you.
Yeah. Should make a song of it.
We might be able to do that. We'll do the duet after we take a quick timeout. Ottawa leading the Calgary Stampeders. The Rough Riders have come to life in the second half. We'll see if they can hang on and win their second of the season.
Calgary Stampeders, one of 2 clubs last season not to place any players on the CFL All-Star team. The other was the Lions. The guy that stands out in my mind, and maybe Leif Pedersen's as well, is Doug Landry, who was so good last year in Calgary and now is starting to find his way into top form with the BC Lions.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Peter. I was a pet peeve of mine last year. I thought he had an outstanding year and deserved to be the all-star middle linebacker. Danny Bass had a great year, not taking anything away from him, but boy, the tank was outstanding.
Now, when do we see the Eskimos again? Because Bass is going to be all over your case.
I hope not for quite some time.
Not next week. We're in Hamilton, actually, later this week on Saturday night with the Rough Riders against the Tiger Cats. That's Saskatchewan.
I mean, you talk about Hamilton. Wow, I mean, they're putting the wins together with a team that, I mean, you don't even know who's going to start from week to week. They are just crippled with injuries. Oh, a big win in BC the other night.
1st and 10, Calgary. Barrett begins at his own 28 and swings it out for Andy McVeigh. McVeigh couldn't bring it down. Catchable ball. Not that easy, but
should have caught it. Well, here's the matchup we've been looking at tonight. Stuman and Lloyd Fairbanks. Good deep drop by Lloyd Fairbanks. Now on a screen, you're not going to get too close, but Lloyd, so far when we've checked in on these 2, is going to have the upper hand tonight. And Greg Stuman still looking for his first sack of the night.
2nd and 10. Barrett looking long on this one for Pitts. He's got it. Derek White Pitts couldn't bring it down. Had it for moments.
Nice job by number 31, Derek White. Pitts did a good job. Look at the back pedal, turned around, and
no.
Derek White puts the hand in there and knocks it down. Boy, that's a great defensive job. I mean, he was beaten and beaten badly, but give him credit that he turned around and got back into the coverage and knocked the ball away. 5 games he played for the Riders, 88, 5 games last year, and now getting the start on the corner tonight.
Brent Maddich. Left puts it into the wind. Stacey Dossie on the return for Ottawa. And dragged down by Mark Singer from behind, number 44. 37 yards into the wind and no return. 3:20 to play, third quarter.
You kind of see the little things that were plaguing the Ottawa Rough Riders so far in their first 6 games are going their way tonight. You know, just like that catch, that ball thrown to Alan Pitts. You know, a catch maybe he probably should have made, but Derek White with a good heads-up play, and the little things are slowly turning around for the Riders tonight.
First down, Ottawa. Hobart takes his time over the middle for Jed Tommy, and Tommy has a first down. Stopped by the safety, Greg Peterson. 19 yards for Tommy.
Only his second catch of the season for Jed Tommy, but he makes some nice moves to get out to the outside, and we've talked a lot about Joe Clossy tonight, and well, this is the thing he has to do as a new middle linebacker, is have that range from sideline to sideline, and gets there a little bit late, but nevertheless, you have to be impressed with the adjustment that he has made from defensive end to middle linebacker. He's done an outstanding job.
Another penalty flag down. Interesting to note that Jed Tommy has 1 reception coming into tonight's game for 16 yards, but it was almost the immaculate reception, 16-yard catch for a touchdown. So 1 catch, 1 TD.
Oh, it was a great touchdown too last week against the Argonauts. They cut Toronto on a blitz and hit Tommy quickly. 6 points.
Disqualification. Calgary number 60. First down over.
My gosh, that's Joe Clossy.
It was the clothesline on the sidelines, and boy, they decide to call things pretty tough tonight.
That's 2 linebackers out of there for the Stampeders. Their best 2. Clossy, number 60, and Finley is already gone, number 37. The other player involved in the infraction with Matt Finley was Michelle Lammy, and he was not tossed out of the game. The team was penalized for unnecessary roughness. So things are not looking good for Calgary right now, and extremely good for the Ottawa Rough Riders. First down, Ottawa, the Calgary 20. This is Tony Cherry, and he's close to 5 yards on that carry. Stopped by Mark Singer, who moves into one of the linebacking spots.
Well, let's go back and have a look. Sorry, John, at Joe Clossy, and maybe we can determine why he got thrown out of the game. Here you see Tommy going out of bounds. Now, there's the attempt to... I mean, I don't know. Is that it? He missed. He missed. Hey, you figure that one out.
Clossy is gone nonetheless. 2nd and 6, Hobart himself, and he's crunched at the 10 by David McQuarrie. Now Hobart should have, if not the first down, he'll be very close.
It's a good style of offense for Kenny Hobart. You got 2nd and 7. Get him on the rollout. Try and break the containment. He's able to do so. There's Will Johnson cut to the inside, and Hobart is off and running, doing what he probably does best, run the football, and very close to a first down. Kenny Hobart has to take this, take it into control himself, and you see the numbers rushing. Not a great deal tonight, but boy, he can be effective when he decides to take off. What do you think about that Clossy thing? That was...
I didn't see very much wrong with that. He was gone in a hurry, though. Perhaps a different angle would show something we didn't see.
I don't think they've invented that camera.
It is 3rd down, less than a yard to go. The Ottawa Rough Riders hope to keep this drive alive. Hobart will keep himself No flags down, so it should be an Ottawa first down. And that'll make it 1st and goal to go. 28-16, Ottawa leading Calgary. The Stampeders are just about out of linebackers, with their ace Joe Classie out of there on a disqualification, and their number 2 man Matt Finley out for the same reason. Both disqualifications coming in the 3rd quarter.
Well, what happens, John, Dan Wicklund comes in number 35, and Mark Singer, number 44, will come in to replace Finley and Classie. Not exactly the guys.
It is not quite the same way, is it? First down, goal to go. Ottawa at the 9, this is Cherry, and he is most of the way to the goal line. Inside the 5. Ken Ford made the stop that time.
Well, this is a great opportunity for Ottawa. The 3rd quarter winding down to really take control of this football game and look for their 2nd win of the season.
Conrad, and he is stopped short.
Conrad, the ball carrier, but he is stopped by Wicklund.
So Dan Wicklund comes up and plays a major role for Ottawa. We're going for it, are we? Is that the call, Coach?
Oh, watch Wicklund. He almost overruns and then comes back and makes a good play. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 1, and oh yeah, I go for it here. I mean, you can bury him. The worst thing that happens is the other guy's got to go 109.
Good call. 3rd and goal to go. Ottawa Rough Riders. And no way the Stampeder defense comes up big. Ford slowed him down, and I think Wicklund was in on the tackle, too.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Wicklund finally made the big hit. Kent Warnock, he got some penetration. The Warrior 93, and wow. You see it right here. There it is, Kenny Ford, Danny Wicklund. You hit it right on, John, and what a big play this may turn out to be. Look at Ford slash through the hole. That's what you have to have from your linebacking crew. They're the guys that have to make the play in short yardage, and what a way to finish the 3rd quarter for the Calgary Stampeders.
Ottawa Rough Riders have the lead. They could have added to it there, but gambled and lost. That happens in football. Ottawa 28, Calgary 16. More coming up in a moment. Well, the goal line stand for the Calgary Stampeders keeps Ottawa out of the end zone, but as you said, Leaf, it's 109 yards away for Calgary.
Boy, it's a long way down to the other end from here.
4th quarter. Beginning now with Barrett. Crawford couldn't hang on. Might be a big play for Ottawa there. Darryl Hopper coming up with the tackle. Crawford certainly could have held on to that ball and given the Stampeders just a little bit of momentum out of that area they're in right now.
Well, you have to like the guts of a Danny Barrett, though. I mean, he's backed up. I mean, you can't go backwards any farther than that. And he just steps back and fires a bullet that Crawford should have caught.
Now, he's caught a few tonight, 6 for 133 yards and 1 touchdown. Barrett gets pressure and look for Crawford again. It'll be 3rd down, and the Stamps will be kicking from deep in their zone.
Great defense by 28 Darryl Hopper. He's had kind of a funny night tonight working on Crawford. Been beaten the one time on the post for a 50-yard touchdown, but right there on the out pattern, he was the closest guy to the football and almost came up with the interception. Oh, hey, you're a corner in this league. You're going to take your lumps. The thing is, how well do you come back? And boy, he came back and made a great defensive play there. That's what they wanted. Force Calgary to kick that ball and get it back at least inside midfield.
Brett Matic from deep in his zone, his end zone. Ottawa Rough Riders will get good field position no matter what this return turns out. For Stacey Dossey, and Dossey is inside the 20. Dan Wicklund made the tackle.
Turnovers have been the big story so far in this game. Through 3 quarters, Calgary's committed 6 to Ottawa's 4. 3 of those turnovers by Calgary have wound up in the hands of Scott Flegel, who right now might be a pretty good choice as the Molson game star.
Well, not a bad suggestion, Peter. But with 14:09 to go, we might wait a while before making our final selection. Nice return by Stacey Dossey. Sets the Ottawa Rough Riders up. For the first down, the 17. Cherry gets inside the 15, stopped by Kent Warnock.
Talked about the old Warrior too much tonight, have we? Kent Warnock tied for Greg Stuman with the league lead with 8 sacks coming into tonight's ball game. First time I think we've mentioned his name coming up with the tackle there on Tony Cherry.
He was part of the goal line stand, I think. Second down and 8. Hobart looks to the end zone, and it's too far for Williams. Now I think Ottawa has to take the 3 here. 3rd and 7.
David Williams tried to run a post corner pattern on Junior Thurman. That's take it to the middle and then break it back deep to the outside. Thurman read it all the way. Williams had no chance. In fact, he kind of quit on that pass pattern. And Kenny Hobart shaking his head. Has David Williams caught a ball tonight? He's been shut out. And of course, he was complaining this week that he wasn't getting enough passes his way.
Neither has Stephon Jones, the other wide receiver.
And they have got to be a big part of your offense. Nevertheless, the Ottawa Rough Riders will add to their total, even though their wide receivers have not caught a ball tonight. Kind of unusual, but that's the way their whole season's been, so not surprising.
31 for the Rough Riders, 16 for the Stampeders. 12:59 to play, fourth quarter. Still not a smile on Steve Goldman's face.
Well, I don't think you'll see a smile until maybe at the end of the game if they are able to hang on and win this game. Wally Wato, I have extreme concern for him because really, you know, his team responded in the second quarter, but this was a bad third quarter for his team. They gave up some turnovers, gave up some points, and not exactly what he expected coming off last week's loss to the Edmonton Eskimos.
Interesting to look at the line score for this one. Ottawa opened up a quick 11-0 lead. Added to that, made it 15-0, or at least a 15-point lead. They are back to a 15-point lead now. At 31-16.
Well, a big quarter for Ottawa, the third quarter. Those 10 points, you know, a field goal on a Scott Flagle fumble recovery, and then the touchdown after a Scott Flagle blocked punt. So, I mean, you want to talk about a star of the game. Scott Flagle has really kind of done it single-handedly with these fumble recoveries.
Let's see what Ron Hopkins can do on this kickoff return. Out to the 45 and stopped there by Brett Young. It's been an interesting night for the Calgary Stampeders offensively.
We'll have a look at Brett Young working the special teams, and I mean, that's just hard work on those things. I mean, that's not a lot of fun going down and covering those kicks, but he did a nice job to spin around and make the play.
Hobbling to the sidelines. So the Rough Riders will go against Ottawa without Brett Young in the secondary for this sequence. Brock Smith could not hang on. Second drop pass by Smith. McGowan was covering. Smith has 4 catches on the night. Barrett good on 16 of 35, 320 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he's down by 15 points. Barrett will get a first down. Out across the 55 to the Ottawa 50. Barrett has really been the Calgary running game, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really has. Watch as he takes off now. The little receivers don't get a chance to whack the big guys too often, but 53, Bruce Holmes is coming. Here's 6 foot 175 Brock Smith. Whack! I mean, you gotta like it. The little guys get it back once in a while. Bruce Holmes, 6'3", 235, a pretty good target. And the little guy got him.
First and 10, Calgary at the Ottawa 47. Barrett time to throw, looks for the far side, and Pitts is wide open for the first down.
Now you want to test the quarterback's arm. You tell him throw the wide side out, 12-yard out to the wide side of the field. I mean, we're talking 50-yard throw on a line, and boy, Danny Barrett showed a pretty strong arm there.
Stampeders into a hurry-up offense right now. First and 10 at the Ottawa 33. Calgary trailing by 15. And this is Anthony Parker. Inside the 20 to the 17. Stop there by
well, no question his best run of the night, and a little ray of hope on the face of Wally Buono on the sidelines as the Calgary Stampeders find themselves trailing by 15 points. Not a great deal with so much time, over 11 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter.
15-yard gain gives Calgary a first down. Barrett being pursued. There was no one around that toss. I guess Derek Crawford might have been close. That is likely why there was no flag for intentionally grounding.
Good play by Danny Barrett. You know, he did that earlier in the game, threw it into the stands to avoid the sack and avoid the grounding call, and he's a smart quarterback. Will not allow the other team to beat him if at all possible, and he'd rather go 2nd and 10 than take a chance at the interception.
Barrett has taken a bit of a beating tonight at the hands of the Ottawa defense, but he's only been sacked once.
Well, they put a lot of pressure on him.
To the end zone, touchdown. Alan Pitts. We could be in for a great finish. There's lots of time left. 11:09 to play in the fourth at McMahon. Trusty Steed races around the stadium once more.
Well, it's tough. Danny Barrett, as he steps up in the pocket, he's going to look, and he can't believe it. There's number 18, Alan Pitts, all alone in the end zone. Coverage breakdown by the Rough Riders. And, boy, he's waving, saying, Danny, get me the ball.
Stanf will go for a 2-point conversion here. Barrett fires for Toner, and he's well off target. There is a flag at the far side of the end zone. Interference charged on the other side of the field against Brett Young, I would think. So the Stamps will get another crack at this 2-point convert.
Forward pass interference. Ottawa. Convert repeated. From the 1.
Of course, just to explain at home, and I'm sure you've all figured it out, it's 22-31. It's the 31-22. A 2-point convert would just put them a converted touchdown from behind if they're successful. And now they've got a decision. You run it, or do you throw it from here?
From the 1-yard line for 2 points. Barrett takes. Another flag is down.
And there is a flag down again.
A lot of flags here tonight, Lee.
Offside. Ottawa number 35. Convert repeated.
So, 3 cracks per quarter of this 2-point convert. They can't do anything to Ottawa, really, at this point, can they? On the infractions, you can't get any closer than a yard from the goal.
Well, I think if you could see Patrick Wayne at the top of your screen, I think he just lined up offside.
All right, 3rd time lucky for Calgary. Yes. Andy McVeigh. So you've done your mathematics, Leeper. It is a 1-touchdown differential, 31-24. Ottawa still in the lead. McVeigh in the end zone for 2.
Nice job along the left side. Kevin Powell, Leo Blanchard. Good lead block by Tony Parker. Something he's been famous for throughout his career. And Andy McVeigh in for the deuce. And we have got ourselves a football game once again.
11:09 to play, 4th quarter. And the Calgary Stampeders are not done yet. Ottawa continues to lead, but now it's 31-24. For a big finish in our TSN Game of the Week, a touchdown separating Ottawa and Calgary. Into the final 11 minutes of this evening of football at McMahon Stadium. Stampeders have battled back all night long, but they have never had the lead in this one.
As well as win 5 divisions. Great cut trip.
Ready for the Calgary kickoff. This is Tony Cherry on the kick return. Out to the 32, stopped there by Stu Laird, number 75.
63-yard kickoff by Mark McLaughlin.
66 yards and 5 plays, capped by the 18-yard pass to Alan Pitts, the leading receiver among CFL rookies. And a great-looking drive by Danny Barrett and company gets the Stampeders back into this one.
And we'll see what Ken Hobart can do now. He has one advantage in there. The Stampeders are missing 2 key players, Mossy and Finley, 2 of their best linebackers. Cherry has a first down. Stopped by Ken Ford. Actually tripped him up.
Boy, if he doesn't trip him up, Tony Cherry's got about 10 more yards to go before anybody's going to touch him. Nice job to the outside. Gets a good block from Rob Smith to tackle. That's a long way for the tackle to pull and lead him all the way around the corner, but Rob Smith, the 10-year veteran from Utah State, does a nice job and gets Tony Cherry around the corner.
That was a little premature on the first down call. It is second down, less than a yard to go. Second and inches, if you will. No flags down, so Hobart keeps the drive rolling and gets another Ottawa first down. 31-24, Ottawa leading the Calgary Stampeders. Should say hi to an old Stampeder pal of mine up in Edmonton, Fred Fleming, sitting in the rocking chair up there. He's a grandfather now.
Yeah.
First granddaughter, Jordan Elizabeth. A daughter for Kevin and Tara down here in Calgary. And Kevin is spotting for us tonight. And he's calling the plays a little bit better than his father used to. Anyway, high grabs. Ballard making the stop on that last play. Down to 13 degrees at McMahon tonight. Got your sweater on?
You bet. It's still August, isn't it, or what?
Second and 9, Ottawa. Batted down. Walter Ballard getting a big mitt on the football.
They've done a good job tonight. That's the second time they've knocked down a Kenny Hobart pass. You know, Kenny's good size. You know, he's 6'1", 210 pounds, but the Calgary Stampeders, super job. And you're going to get one more look at it here. Watch the stunt. Warnock to the outside. There comes Ballard. Hands up. That's great job.
Terry Baker's had a good night kicking. This one into the wind. Another flag is down. And the flag was down well before the play. Crawford turns in a pretty good return, caught by Kyle Hall from behind. And this might come back, Leaf. The flag went down before the return began. And the Stampeders called for too many men earlier in the night. I think they were caught again.
Well, it's usually a legal substitution or too many men when it comes down way back in the backfield.
Wally is not a happy chickadee down there.
Oh, you give up a lot of yards of offense when those kinds of things start to happen.
Now, hang on. What are they called? That is the penalty. Ottawa retains possession of the football. At the 54. Ottawa keeps the drive going. Here's Hobart. Racing away from Ballard, and that is another Rough Rider first down.
Well, so that too many men penalty on the Calgary Stampeders gives Ottawa a first down. We've clarified that, and Kenny Hobart takes full advantage of it. And that's what he has become famous for throughout his CFL career, and that is to run with the football. And no, folks, he doesn't have the glasses on when he's playing tonight. But I can tell you that he is fleet of foot and did a nice job to pick up that first down.
The referee, Ken Lazarick, at least I didn't hear him make the official call over the microphone here.
There's too many men. He's been informed from the sidelines.
First down, Ottawa. The Rough Riders lead 31-24. Jerry, there's not much room against that Calgary defense led by Walter Ballard, who has come into his own in the last few minutes of the game, knocking down a pass, making a couple of key tackles. Stampeders have run into turnover troubles here. Total of 6.
Coming into tonight, they were a +4 in that takeaway giveaway category. It means that they have taken it 4 more times and they have given it up. They will be in the minus side of things after tonight's game is over.
7 minutes, 18 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. This is second down. Flag goes down, likely holding against Ottawa. As Ellingson gets close to first down territory and stopped there by David McCrary. They'll bring this one back.
Holding, Ottawa number 65, second down repeated.
The rope. Gerald Roper, they cut on that one. Boy, it's been kind of a funny flow to this game, hasn't there? Penalty here or there, or interception, fumble. There you see Roper on the left, and he has got the hooks on. Looks like the Warrior, number 93, Kent Warnock. Warnock is a load at 6'7", 270.
This is second and 18 for Hobart and the Rough Riders. Hobart drills one in, and it is a catch for Kenneth Ware. He's well short of the first down, though.
He's still short, but what he might have done was get Dean Dorsey into range for a field goal. Although it's breeze is picked up here in the 4th quarter. It'll be a pretty good shot for Dean Dorsey around the 46-yard line.
Dorsey's longest of the season, ironically, is 46 yards away, so they'll spot this one at the 45. I don't know if you say it's within range, but he has hit from there in 1990. Not this time. Hopkins on the dead run. He rolls out to the 15. Dorsey was not really very close on that one.
That's a great job by Ronnie Hopkins not to let the ball bounce and save his team a few extra yards there.
A touchdown separating the Stampeders and the Ottawa Rough Riders at McMahon tonight. Calgary sends its offense onto the field. We'll continue. Come on. Can we carry on here for a second? I gotta go.
I always wanted it all to myself.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Kiss Classic.
Well, there you see the line score from tonight's game, and really each team has taken control of a quarter. All Ottawa the first, Calgary comes storming back in the second, and then tremendous 3rd quarter for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Pretty even in the 4th, but Ottawa really winning 2 out of 3 quarters so far, and so we're halfway through the 4th, and that's the reason why they are up by a converted touchdown, 31-24.
Unofficially 6:19 remaining. Calgary first down at the Stampeder 15. Barrett gets some heat. He gets it to Pitts. Big first down for the Stampeders. He's out across the 35 to the 37 and stopped there by Bruce Holmes. Turnovers a big part of the Stampeder problems tonight, but penalties have been costly too. Calgary, 10 penalties, 154 yards. Ottawa 10 for 158. Intercepted on the far side, intended for Crawford.
Danny Barrett's pass is intended for
It's the first time tonight that Danny Barrett's really taken a chance with the throw. He felt the pressure coming from Kropke up front and decided to take a chance, and he's very lucky that Darrell Hopper didn't hang on to that ball for the interception.
2nd and 10 Calgary. Off target. Alan Pitts, the intended receiver. Stampeders will kick it away.
Calgary Transit offers fast, convenient, and direct service to McMahon Stadium for the best in Stampeder football. Look for Calgary Transit.
It'll be interesting to see how Ottawa handles the last 5 minutes or 26 seconds. So far in 1990, they have struggled near the end of the game, hanging on to a lead, and as they find themselves up by 7 here.
Stacey Dossie. Not this time. Dave Sapunjas made the stop before Dossie got to the 45. 12-yard return after a 42-yard kick. Into the final 5 minutes now. 5:15 remaining. Well, Ottawa needs a couple of first downs.
Well, I think they should throw the ball on first down and go to that little hook to the outside to their inside receivers. They've had success with it.
Nowhere to go. As Stu Laird wraps up Tony Cherry.
To the backfield by Stu Laird. Second down Riders.
Stu Laird, who's really the 5th defensive lineman in their scheme of things, getting a chance to play here in the 4th quarter. And well, he does a great job to shed the block and make the tackle, and Anthony Cherry loses a yard on that play. Stu Laird off to his best year, and it's funny, he's in a backup capacity. He still has 5 sacks, though. That's a pretty good start for him.
Second down now for Ottawa. Aguirre. And he can't find any running room along the line. Thurman and Dan Wickland force him out.
A smart play by Junior Thurman to come up and force Kinnever to the outside, not let him get the first down. Danny Wicklum, who's in replacing Joe Clausse in the middle with great range to the outside. Nice to see him healthy again. You know, he had a tremendously bad knee injury when he was playing with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They didn't protect him in the equalization draft. Calgary took him. He has rehabilitated himself and back and doing a great job on special teams, and now playing the middle at the linebacker spot.
Baker with his kick into the wind. And there's no play for Eddie Brown. Well, rough stuff down there. 2 players have already been ejected. And with a timeout on the field, it was Bruce Holmes on Darcy Kopp. We'll see if there is a penalty when we return into the final 4 minutes at McMahon in Calgary. Welcome back to our TSN Game of the Week. A touchdown separating Ottawa and Calgary as we head to the final 4 minutes here at McMahon. A little controversy on the last play. What happened, Leifert?
Well, I don't know. They called Darcy Kopp for roughing, but you know, Bruce Holmes got decked there, but I think it was his own guy, number 16, Dan Johnson, that hit him. And Darcy Kopp said, hey, you know, I didn't do anything, but they got the roughing call. And of course, Bruce Holmes, subject to a little bit of controversy this year with a little extracurricular on John Kangemi.
Well, they marched the penalty off against Calgary's Darcy Kopp. And the Stampeders will begin at the 20-yard line. Tuesday nights, it's BC at Lansdowne in Ottawa, and that same evening, the Calgary Stampeders' next game is at Winnipeg Stadium against the Blue Bombers. Bombers knocking off the Argonauts earlier tonight. 1st and 10. Calgary. Barrett looking long and well out of the range. Derek Crawford.
Boy, Daryl Hopper got burned on that 1 touchdown pass to Crawford, but you have to be impressed with the way he's fastened that chin strap back up and come back here in the second half. He's been doing a great job on Derek Crawford that time, step for step. No way for Danny Barrett to get that ball in there. Tough being a corner in this league. I mean, you are challenged time after time.
2nd and 10, Calgary. Barrett goes under the coverage. Anthony Parker well short of the first down in the grasp of Bruce Holmes.
Well, we got some great middle linebackers in this league, don't we, John? You know, you look at Danny Bass in Edmonton. You got the tank out in BC now. Bruce Holmes here with Ottawa. These guys have such tremendous range. You know, you're talking about a field 65 yards wide, and well, you have to have the speed and quickness to cover that whole territory. And boy, let's not forget James West in the middle for Winnipeg. He's having a great...
Don't forget James.
No, he'll be all over me, but he's having a great year.
What a great kick here for Matic. Chasing Dowsey right back to the 20. He's lucky to hang on. Dave Sapunjas leading the special teams for Calgary.
Talking about middle linebackers, I mean, Daryl Patterson, he had a whale of a game at the game we did.
You know,
Winnipeg.
This is just typical of you.
What
you're going to do, you're going to say there's some great middle linebackers in the league, and then you're going to name absolutely everyone so you don't get any heat the next time you bump into somebody.
I left a few out. I didn't say Chris Gaines in Toronto, did I?
No.
I think that was the only one, though. I don't know him.
This is a first down for Ottawa from the 24. Cherry gets away from one, but he can't get away from the second man through, and that's Ken Ford. Singer was the first player shaken off, but Ford would not be pushed aside. 3-minute warning is out on the field. 2:53 to go with Ottawa in the lead, but it's only by a touchdown. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium in Calgary for the final 3 minutes of this one. That is, unless we do see overtime tonight with only a touchdown separating these two teams. Earlier tonight, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers coming up with another victory over the Toronto Argonauts. Final is in, 27-23. The Bombers were supposed to be last league in the East. They're first by a couple of points at 5-2.
Well, I mean, that was largely due to the quarterbacking uncertainties that they were faced with at the beginning of the year, but I think they've straightened that away. I mean, I don't know how well Burgess or McManus played tonight, but obviously they must have done something right to go into the Sky Dome and defeat the Argos in their own house.
Tense moments for Steve Goldman.
Well, I mean, this is where it's been tough for Ottawa all year. You know, they've had leads going into the fourth quarter a number of times and just have not been able to hang on and pull out the victory. And this is another huge test with 2:50 remaining, and they're up by 7. Boy, you put a couple of first downs together here, that'll go a long way to sealing this victory for them.
But this is 2nd and 10, Ottawa. Hobart would love to convert this. Conrad was the intended receiver. The pass was well off target. Hobart ends up on his back.
Great pressure from the Warrior. Kent Warnock, number 93, he has yet to get his first sack tonight, but boy, that pressure caused that pass to go away, and had Hobart been able to complete it, it still would have been way short of the first down. So the defense for the Stampeders do their job, and after this punt, they should have pretty good field position to try and tie up this ball game.
Terry Baker into a pretty stiff breeze. Bouncing at the 55. Flags go down. Foul on the return.
A 35-yard punt by Terry Baker. 5 yards.
He was going to throw that flag, Wellesley, and then he got it about halfway out, and then he put it right back in because the Ottawa guy got out of that 5-yard buffer zone, and there will be no flag. That's a good call by the referee.
But also there's a wind ruling in Canadian football. If the wind is playing havoc with a punt, they can waive the no yards. 1st and 10. Stampeders at the 52. Here's Barrett under the coverage. Parker makes the catch short of the first down. And guess who was there again? Bruce Holmes, the leading tackler for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
About 40 to go.
Second and 4. Barrett out of the pocket. Can he make it himself? He does. Barrett, another first down running.
40-yard line, that is
Well, he got a great block up front from Marshall Toner, who peeled back, saw that Barrett was in trouble, had to run for the first down, and Marshall Toner with a nice block to allow Barrett to pick up the first down. And, well, you know, this is what it's all about. We're down to 2 minutes. They trail by 7. They got one last crack at it, and we got a quarterback putting a pretty good drive together here. I mean, can't ask for any more.
They may have to hold the pizza at Nick's Steakhouse for us tonight. Overtime looms as a possibility here. Stampeders 1st and 10 at the Ottawa 41. Barrett getting out of some trouble, but not completely. Kropke was there, and so was Brett Young.
Well, John Kropke's had himself a whale of a game tonight. He's in replacing John Mandrich at the tackle spot, and he has put a tremendous amount of pressure on Barrett tonight, and now comes up with the sack at an extremely critical time.
.201 remaining. Now down to a minute 54 on 2nd and 10. Key play for the Stampeders. Flag is down. Eddie Brown makes the catch in front of Brett Young.
That's a great catch by Eddie Brown, but unfortunately it's going to come back.
Calgary number 52, 2nd down and 10.
Brian Hutchings. There is not a hole big enough to crawl into right now for the right guard, number 52, Brian Hutchings.
That was 2nd and 10.
That's a great conversion, too.
This is 2nd and 20. Back now to the Ottawa 51. On the clock, a minute 46. Penalties costly to the Stampeders tonight. We'll see what Barrett can do. He needs a little magic. And he gets it. Short of the first down in front of Derek White, Alan Pitts.
Can you believe it? I mean, what a great target he is. He runs down 20. Stops, turns around. You can have a good look at it here. Watch the pattern. Nothing fancy. Good move to the outside. Turn around. Bang. There's the ball waiting. That's great. Close enough. They're going to be about maybe half a yard short at most. Alan Pitts had a great night tonight. 6 catches, 142 yards, 1 touchdown, and boy, he got enough for the first down.
Not by much. That's a great pattern, though, isn't it, when you run it? And you make the first down at 20, or the 2nd and 20, by a couple of inches. Stampeder drive is alive with a minute 38 to go.
Pretty nice spot there if you're a Calgary fan.
It's up to the Ottawa defense now. As a group, there have been big plays out there. Barrett. Brock Smith at the 10. Troy Wilson made the stop. Smith had to make a great catch. He had to go back for it.
Well, you can't have better timing between quarterback and receiver that you're going to see right here. Danny Barrett steps up and delivers that ball way before Brock Smith even made his break. Smith turns around. The ball is right there, just as it was in the previous play to Alan Pitts. And boy, Danny Barrett is really in cohesion with his receiving core tonight.
Stampeders have 3 tries now from the 5-yard line. Barrett. Touchdown.
The naked bootleg, a little fake, and nobody out in front to block for you really, and he just simply outruns Glenn Koka into the end zone, and Danny Barrett and his Stampeders are 1 point away from tying this football game, and boy, it has been an uphill struggle for them for 59 minutes.
The Stampeders have not held the lead. Now they have a tie. 54 seconds on the clock.
54 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Overtime, a distinct possibility at McMahon here tonight. Well, Dan Barrett has done it all tonight. He is the rushing leader on this team. He's put some big numbers on the board. And now he is back to even with the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Well, he's the rushing leader in TDs in the league, not only for his team, with 5, and what a job he did. That pass to Alan Pitts on the 2nd and 20. I mean, my, oh my. Calgary receivers a great night. Crawford 6 catches, 133, 1 TD. Pitts 6, 142 and 1 TD. And Brock Smith has pitched in with 5 catches for 95 yards. I mean, they've had a good night as a receiving corps.
It's up to Stacey Dossey at this moment. Away from one, Dossey with room down the near sidelines and forced out by Singer and the kicker, Maddox.
Now 47 seconds. Sorry, 47 seconds remaining now. Kenny Hobart obviously looking at getting his team in position for a Dean Dorsey field goal attempt. Just remember, they're going into a pretty stiff breeze that's developed here in the fourth quarter, straight into the face of Hobart. Well, I don't think this is the time to hold back. You got 47 seconds. You've led all the way during the game. You've seen yourself been tied by Calgary. I'd go for it here, Lundell. Try and get in position for that field goal. Don't even be thinking overtime.
I don't think you want to give the Calgary Stampeders a chance in overtime. Injured Stampeder is rookie Dave Sapunjas from Western Ontario. "22 years old, years in the CFL, a big R up there."
Well, he was on a big Vanier Cup winning team last year, the Western Ontario Mustangs, drafted by the Stampeders this year.
Here we go into the final 47 seconds of regulation time. Ken Hobart carries himself. He gets about 3. Ballard and Johnson to make the stop on Hobart's. 41 seconds now. Second and 7, Ottawa. They need at least 2 first downs. And the Rough Riders will be kicking.
Providing the coverage, that makes it 3rd down right. David McCurry taking
another injured Stampeder, David McCrary, I believe. It's been a tough football game.
If there is a Peter on
You have to feel sympathy for the Ottawa Rough Riders, don't you? I mean, they're struggling to get their 2nd win of the year. They've led throughout the whole game, and with under a minute left, they see themselves tied up by Calgary. And oh boy, you know, you have to feel sorry for the coaches sometimes. They're the ones that take most of the heat, and Steve Goldman, the stomach has to be churning right here. McCrary was involved with a heck of a collision with one of the linebackers. I believe it was 35 Dan Wicklum in the middle. And as they tried to break up that incomplete pass attempt to James Ellingson, watch here. There's Wicklum coming, and he catches McCrary right in the head with the thigh. Pretty tough landing for Dan Wicklum, too. McCrary with a big interception tonight.
Pat Clayton gets McCrary up at least into a sitting position now. Well, Mark Mark McLaughlin hopes he gets a chance for the win. 28 seconds to go. All even at 31. He's had a perfect night.
Terry Baker's really been inconsistent with his punting this year with the Ottawa Rough Riders, and boy, if he ever was dreaming of getting off a boomer, now's the time.
This kick will be into the wind. Third down, Ottawa. Too deep for the Stampeders as Terry Baker gets set at his 35.
Well, I go for the block here. There's only 28 seconds left to start that clock.
Stampeders have all the horses on the 50. Ready for the charge. Baker gets it away, and a decent kick into the breeze back near the 20. Eddie Brown has a hole, and Baker has to go over and help with the tackle. 17 seconds to go. Out of McLaughlin's range right now. But,
well, I'll tell you, they're really only one first down away from giving him a reasonable shot at that field goal. Eddie Brown with 4.3 speed. I mean, you talk about guys returning kicks. Hopkins, Brown, Derek Crawford. You put anybody out there, and they seem to shine. But they're about a good 15 yards away from when McLaughlin shot at it.
31-31. 15 seconds on the clock. This is Brock Smith. Smith gets away from one tackle. He has a first down. Now 8 seconds remain. He's down inside the 45.
He can have a shot at it from here. McLaughlin's got the breeze at his back, and he's got the range, a good strong leg. And I think what they might do with 7 seconds is they may run the ball and put it right in the middle of the field for Mark McLaughlin. Take their time out and let the kicker either win it or let them go to overtime. Of course, I've been wrong all night. They'll probably throw it.
Right this time, but Barrett just goes down. He didn't want to take the chance. Lots of faith in Mark McLaughlin, who trots on from the 50-yard line. Ready to kick for the win. Terry Baker is in the end zone. If McLaughlin misses, Baker will try and get it up. 5 deep in the end zone. From the 40, 49, and early movement down there. Came from the Ottawa side.
We're talking huge penalty here if it's against Ottawa.
Can it be procedure? The conference is on.
Legal procedure.
That's up to 179 yards in penalties for the Stampeders, and that might just give the Ottawa Rough Riders a breath here. Longest kick of the year for Mark McLaughlin from 50 yards away.
He's got the leg to kick it from 54.
Longest in his career is 58.
He's got the leg. He can get it there.
This from 54. McLaughlin for the win. Heartbreak. The Ottawa Rough Riders have to be absolutely disillusioned tonight. They had it, lost it, had it again, and McLaughlin wins it for Calgary on a 54-yard field goal with no time remaining. Dan Barrett, heck of a night. Two weeks ago, the Riders had a chance for the win on the last play of the game. Dean Dorsey was wide against Hamilton. Tonight, well, all they could do was sit and watch McLaughlin poke it through from 54 yards away. Offensively, the Ottawa Rough Riders did not have a great night. But they made some plays and they had some moments. They had a chance to win this one.
Well, they had a great chance to win it, but boy, oh boy, I mean, you got to take a tip of the hat to Danny Barrett, the way he directed this offense in the fourth quarter. Calm and cool, ran when he had to, and boy, he used his wide receivers so effectively tonight. Pitts had a great night, Crawford had a great night, and Barrett ends up with 24-47, 447 yards. Without looking it up, I can tell you that's his best night of the season so far. Only one interception, pretty much true to form for him. He doesn't turn the ball over. A couple of touchdown passes, and well, there you see it.
There you see the final. Hard to believe.
Our Molson MVP game star, a popular choice here in Calgary. The fine place kicker of the team, Mark McLaughlin, who kicked the winning field goal from 54 yards out with no time left on the clock to win it for his team. And it was a long, hard struggle, Mark, but you got the job done in the end.
It was a tough game. We made the right decision coming on in the second half to go play into the win in the third quarter, have the win behind our back in the fourth. But, I mean, the guys did a good job. Great punt return there to set it up, and, you know, just got to try and come through.
Everybody knew it would be tough, and I know that the team didn't have the greatest of first quarters. It looked a little flat. What turned it around?
Well, I don't know. You know, we go in at halftime. We know that we haven't played very well, but we know we can play better, and it's just a matter of putting things together. And defense played well all night, but we were too many turnovers to give them too many points. But the guys rebounded and did a good job.
It's nice to have the opportunity to win a game right on the last play, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I like to say hi to Mom and Dad and Lisa at home. I know they're my biggest fans, and they'll be real happy.
Always happy to help the Bell system. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Mark McLaughlin got the winning field goal as his team beats the Ottawa Rough Riders 34-31. More from McMahon Stadium in Calgary after